practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden messages.
A special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimilla, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it...
Hey, I'm gonna do it. Typically, welcome that they don't sustain.
Welcome to another edition of the Adam Dunn Show. I am your host, Adam Dunn.
Can I get the heady thingies with the...
And you got the heady things right there, my friend. We are joined in the incredibly illustrious studio.
Yeah, nice spot.
What a nice studio, huh?
That's way sweet.
No, we are still stuck out. We definitely blew off the alarm. We definitely haven't moved the cars. We're in the classic situation of, no, we can't do the show at our spot yet. So we are here in the illustrious Sofa Studios, I would call it, right? Mm-hmm. SoHi Sofa?
Airbnbs.
Airbnb. Imagine
So
that.
do you guys not pay your heat bill here? Is that how that works? You didn't pay the heat bill?
That's exactly what works. No, we don't even know whose house this is. We just saw the door was open,
keep my ears
came
warm.
in, and now we're here. So hopefully nobody shows up
We're just squatting.
during the middle of the show and fucks our whole shit up. I got Colin Gordon in the studio.
Hi. How you doing?
Unannounced, just like we did. We talked about it last week. I don't think any of these guys knew you were coming, so they were just like, whoa.
I saw their excitement in their eyes when I walked in.
Yeah, they were like, oh no, somebody's here.
It's really
We have
warm.
Dr. John Willard III coming on because see how much more important his name sounds than yours? Dr. John Willard III.
Colin Gordon, Esquire.
Okay, Esquire. I forgot about that part. But
So
we from
I literally
Willard,
don't know what that means.
from Willard's
Like, I
Water
swear to God, I really don't know what that means. Like, is that like a...
will be joining us in a little bit. Have you heard of Willard's Water? Willard's Water?
Say the name again?
Willard's Water. You haven't heard of it? It's
Willard's Water?
Yeah, it's a plant catalyst. So anyway, we're going to talk all about it with him on the phone. So
I feel like that sounds familiar.
good. I'm glad. Maybe you'll learn. Maybe you'll learn something instead of just jibber jabber. I know you.
I can still jibber jab while learning.
He is the jibber jabber.
They're
king.
mutually exclusive parts of my brain.
We got KTI in the studio here
Yo.
as usual. Got MTI, Wheels of Steel.
Everyone's got acronyms. What the fuck?
They're all they're interns. They get the Kyle the intern.
So can't you give him some like
Mark the
shitty
intern.
name or
no shitty names here. Just
no shitty names here? Just cool acronyms.
just acronyms
Cool.
all around.
It was like a hazing. I thought it was like a hazing or something.
And we got a bunch to talk about with you about our little soiree we talked about.
We have a soiree.
I know we'll talk about that during the show. We'll talk about what's going down with Ethos, blowing up and everywhere all over the world.
Woot.
And we will talk about your theories that you love to put out there and get blasted for.
Yes, and they are theories, by the way.
They're just
I've
theories.
never said I've had evidence.
No, I know.
I was just looking
We'll talk about your
for
theories.
responses, but actually, ironically, since those posts, or not ironically, I think actually that was the intent. I've talked to several plant.
Willard's on the case. All right, so we're going to talk to Mr. John Willard right
Let's
away.
do it.
He's been waiting for weeks. Hello there. Is this Mr. John Willard III himself?
Was there a second?
No,
No? Who
this
is
is
this?
Mr. Phone.
Oh,
This is Mr.
abnor-
420.
Oh, I knew it was-
Interrupt the program again.
Oh, the interrupter. Yeah, he's quick on the interruptions. Yeah, I kind of as I said it, I was like, it's not him. It's for sure you. I already knew it was you. I was like, wait a minute, who would call that quick, right? So, hello, Mr. 420. How you doing? How's it out there in the ether world?
Once again?
Are you gonna not hear us again and get all weird on the phone? He always does this. What do we do?
No, I said Michigan. I'm in Michigan.
Oh yeah, Michigan. Sorry, you'd have to tell me where you're secretly.
I hate to say this, but could
Get on
you?
the
I hate to say this, but could you turn him up a little bit in my headphones?
Turn him up in my headphones.
Just
a
not
bit.
too much, obviously.
I'm just calling real quick to say hi anyway, guys.
That's all good.
Adam,
yeah.
I'm up in
Whoa,
Michigan
got it.
setting up an R&D facility
That's
for
too
AB Normal.
Nice.
But I will be seeing you on 420 for sure in April on your spot.
A lot of foes
But
there.
I
Yeah.
just want to say hi, and I'm kind of stuck. I don't get to watch it because I'm at actually somebody else's place. They paid all my bills, and I'm just hanging out working for them right now. So
Oh, good.
But-
Nice to hear. Nice to hear you're working. That's always a good thing. You know.
I don't know if I'd call this working.
It's the way to keep it. You got to keep it so it doesn't feel like work. But yeah, so we'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks. That's for sure. And yeah, just like I said, interrupt the show as usual. You know, keep it consistent.
Thanks for coming.
Keep it consistent. You know, that's the thing. So
Hey man, you started it. So
If he interrupts regularly,
Yeah.
it's really not an interruption as much as just becomes like a part of the
yeah,
show.
he's a baba. He's a baba. Ooh,
Yeah,
yay,
like
baba booey.
he interrupts at exactly the same time, the same day. Like he's a regular now. It's
He is,
just,
he is.
yeah, I was gonna call in and prank and be like, "Is
Actually-
Mr. Wolf there? Is any of the wolves there?"
You got the yeah. You're definitely our test. You do the actual test for us to make sure our lines are open. So we appreciate that.
You're our test
All
dummy.
right, man. I got to get back to it. You guys have a good show. I'll probably have to catch it later, but
Hey.
we'll be seeing you soon anyway, brother.
Peace. See you, man. Thanks.
All right,
Take
peace.
it easy.
So before Mr. Willard calls, and what
I was gonna say some shout outs.
we'll do the shout outs quick, get that
So
over
Willard
with.
can be on, and we don't gotta interrupt
because we know he's going to jump on. He's been waiting since last week. So Ash is right there. You see, bow, bow, bow. There you go. So and New Millennium. Did you run into them at the?
Yeah, I saw him. I just randomly bumped into him
and
up in the mountains.
I got a message
Nutrients?
that they have 3 ski passes for you too that they can't
Really?
use. So
Oh, perfect.
they wanted to hand those off to you before you leave and go back
Awesome.
home. So
Cool.
New
You-
Millennium,
bonus-
New Millennium Nutrients?
New
What?
Millennium Nutrients, exactly. You can, tell us. Let me talk to you about this. What you got?
This
some. Yeah?
cannabis right here was grown with New Millennium Nutrients.
Oh wow! There we go. See, it was a-
100% blah 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 blah, but actually grown with New Millennium Nutrients. That's true. They sent me a run to do this, and I use it on this run, and that's what I
how
read.
how coincidental. It's almost like we planned that actually. Well, what did you think about the formula? It was quite easy to use.
Fucking sucks, man.
Yeah, it was worst yield ever. No.
It was good across the board.
Did you actually follow the formula, or did you just kind of get all weird?
Yes, both. First, I followed the formula, and then I kind of try to figure out what I was doing. But like in general, like I get a feel for my plants. You know what I mean? And I know what's in the bottles. But I try to run it as close to the formula as possible, just to see what the.
Did you get that from 5.8 and those guys gave it to you direct? Or?
Yeah, the guy who made it.
Yeah.
I'm not going names.
Okay.
Yes.
Neil's the guy, one of the guys. But
Yeah, whoever made it, he sent me like 5 gallons of everything, and yeah, the quality was fantastic. The yields were great. You know, the thing is, it's like I don't measure a lot of stuff when I'm doing runs. It's just like how many grams, how many this. It's like, you know, dude, if I had different bulbs in last time, it's gonna make those nutrients last time look like they yield more. You know what I mean? So I just run it to get a feel first.
Yeah.
Just to see how it just kind of runs, and it was obviously very solid. There's a lot of parts to it.
Yeah,
it's not for a novice grower.
It's definitely more professionally orientated, and
Yeah.
it does work really well though in those setups when you have all your dosatrons and you get all your shit together.
As long as you can, look, I know people that love a lot of parts of their system.
Oh, I
If
know.
you want a lot of control and you want the highest, first of all, I would say quality was A+. You know what I mean? As far as like, it definitely maximized trikes, terps, blah, blah, blah. The structure was excellent. As far as yield, it's up there. Who knows? I don't know.
It's
You know,
not.
any-
It's
any
not a
given-
house and
any
garden
given
situation
Sunday.
where it's going to grow, blow out, and go huge, and everything tastes the same. It yielded really good. I always thought it was like
Everything was just solid.
Yeah,
So it's like,
yeah.
I don't care about what the yield is. Everything's
I thought it
chunky,
was
solid.
I thought it
and
wasn't
has
like
great
I thought it
structure.
was more of a. What I always know. I mean, I've been growing up with it for about 3 years, and what I've noticed is it's very plant specific. It's not like it itself has got to like hype up your plants. Like if your plants, it'll just give your plants the ability to do what they do. Whereas
Yes.
like with house and gardens and those kind of things, like I've always noticed
Pushes
those. All of a sudden you see like everything grows like a pyramid. All of a sudden you're like, when did those plants ever grow like that? You know what I mean? They never did that, but now they're all like.
Well, it's because they put gibberellic acid in their formula, and
Right.
that literally changes the morphology of it, and that's why it grows like that.
Right. So it's
So,
like you
but
know. And,
we tested it when I used to work at Growbig,
uh-huh.
and then that was what we kept finding in a lot of those systems that quote unquote pushed the plants. Where I'm like, man, we're getting more yields, bigger yields.
But it's,
There's organic gibberellic acid,
right.
and it definitely
Well, what happens
pushes
is-
that
and
plant,
what
but
you
it
notice-
definitely
it's-
takes away quality. And
100%. It takes away quality. It also turns it into like more like the structure of the bud, less of the bud. You know what I mean? Like it's like, wow, you got a lot of structure there, and then you got some buds at the end of your bunch of bullshit. You know?
Yep.
And it's like it's that's where you see how it's like growing, but not. It's not focused on the way the plant grows. And I
If
feel
you took a picture of the plant from a distance it looked like you got way more.
Yeah.
And the plant was way healthier.
Yeah.
And once you got into it,
Exactly.
trimmed it all up,
Yeah.
got all into the weed,
Yeah.
you're like, eh.
Yeah, exactly.
So it would be great for pictures, but I wouldn't want to use it
But
for
you don't
something
get
else.
that with New Millennium from New Millennium Nutrients. NewMillenniumNutrients.com.
These
Yo.
were grown with only New Millennium nutrients.
They
and
were.
love.
No, yeah, and that's awesome. And you can also go on their website. They got a really good calculator, good store finder, all easy stuff to get some in your hands. And did you like the Ruby Fulvic? That's my favorite product, actually, because it's different. Did you give you the hype on that one with the 9 different sources of Fulvics and stuff?
Yeah, I already because I worked in a hydro store for a while. I kind of know all the science as far as like, I know the 101s and everything.
Right. But that actual product is out of there. You know how every company has
Right.
like a super stellar product?
Yes.
Like they're gonna have good, but then there's also one that's like, oh shit, that's all I use from that. And after a while, you can tell who's a
I've
good
only run
grower
it
because
once,
they pick out.
So I just ran it.
one
They gave it
things.
to me like 3 months ago. So it was like,
It's our longest commercial ever for New Millennium.
this is
by
my
the
first
way.
run. So like, I'll get back to you. Let me run a couple more times and I'll let you know. Like,
All right.
I'd like to run some a few times to really kind of.
Yeah, and like I said,
I will say this: I was absolutely pleased.
Yeah.
And as long as you don't mind running a lot of parts,
Yeah.
I would totally recommend.
that's exactly. And to be quite honest, when you do, you're never really using more than a certain amount per time. Like it's just there are a lot of.
Yeah, right.
You're
Not
not-
using all of them at one time.
Very
or like
often.
week 3 of flower, I think I was. I was like, God damn, I'm using like 9 plays right now.
Right.
But it was a hell of a week 3.
Killer products from New Millennium. Just check those guys out, and we're gonna have them on the show.
And thanks for
pretty
the
soon 'cause-
products, New Millennium, by the way. Like that was
Because you
really
said that
unsolicited. They
you
sent it
said
to me,
Neil,
so
you
thanks,
said
guys.
that he wants to come on the show.
Yeah, Neil wants to come on the show for sure.
Good.
He's gone on. I guess Jaron has a podcast.
Yeah, of course he's going to go on Jaren's
So-
podcast because he's like works for him, doesn't he?
Yeah, but
It's easy enough. But
Yeah,
yeah, he's got to come on
about
our
that.
podcast now. But yeah, definitely want to get Neil's in there. And
By the way, New
ship-
Millennium, I tagged you on my pics I just put up yesterday on those
Bam.
buds. So
And I think next week actually we're going to have the Incredibles van over at the new spot if they haven't fixed their shit yet. And probably not even, doesn't even matter because, but apparently the batteries were dead. It hasn't been driven in months. I was like, oh, then it needs to come out and fucking be taken care of. But if you want to get taken care of and your batteries are low, pick up some Incredibles and energize yourself. No, those are the best edibles here in Colorado.
this is a really creepy commercial.
You like that? Every week it's creepier. It gets creepier by the week. Don't you worry.
It's like performance art.
It is. And every time is different. That's why I love it. But Incredibles
true, though.
edibles, Incredibles edibles. I would guarantee if you come here to Colorado and you go to any single dispensary, they're going to have them on the shelf because they have covered this entire state like a plague. No, but they're also available in Nevada, in California, in Massachusetts coming up, and in Puerto Rico, all over the place. Wellness products. They got CBD products. They got microdosed products, so you don't have to get all loopy. You can just take a little bit all day. Regulate yourself. Go to iloveincredibles.com. Check out their website. Same deal. Store finders. I don't think they do a calculator of how much you're supposed to eat, do they? Just like eat a lot. Eat a lot. What's that? You got a calculator?
Yeah, they have a Edibles 101.
Oh, that's sort of like a calculator.
Start low, go slow, and
That's
tells you all that
obvious.
stuff.
Eat a lot. Just eat a whole bunch. Grab them all. Eat them at the same time.
It's pretty
don't even-
funny. Like
don't
a
take
what I would
couple
do.
journalists came in and were just like blindly not knowing
Oh, that was
anything
actually-
about it. Like I'm gonna eat this 200 milligrams and see
Yeah.
what happens.
That's the
You're
what's her
like,
name? What was that lady's name?
which one?
The reporter that did that. There was that lady that
There was a woman reporter from like a major
Maureen
network
Dowd.
where she
Morgan Dowd,
where
yes.
she actually
Yeah.
like stayed in a hotel room.
Oh,
Like,
she got
actually the
rough.
way she explained her trip, I was like, you handled yourself pretty well, for your first tripping your face off. But a couple of people not as well.
Yeah.
That one cop that called the police on himself.
with the two cops actually.
thought he was
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
two cops.
And he said he was dead.
Yeah, they said
Yeah.
they were dead already.
There's a huge difference, regardless of the context.
But
Like it's just like that's a
But
huge
what the beautiful
difference.
thing with Incredibles is they're all got a dose on them, so you know exactly what you took. You don't have to guess. There's no guessing involved. And
A little guessing as far as like it
Well,
might-
everybody has
not
to-
as far as the dose, as far as
No.
what it's gonna do to you.
Yeah, sure. And
But they
I
are
mean,
really super accurate.
I usually eat too much. That's my main thing. And then I don't feel it for the first day. I feel it the next day. The next day I'm like ruined. That's when it hurts you. You're like,
That's funny.
I know when it kicks in too. I know when it kicks in too quickly.
Oh, that's
So you're like, oh, I don't know. I just ate this edible a few minutes. I'm like, why am I feeling this already?
well, that's not a good thing.
You're like, oh no.
Yeah.
You're like, oh no, this is gonna get way worse in the next 20 minutes. You're like, if I stare out the window for the next 6 hours, bring me water. You know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you
walk
know-
around in circles in the yard.
You know, the thing about edibles in general, though, is always about the dosage is so important, and it's one of those things where it's really hard. It doesn't even matter
Really
if they
is.
do the exact dose every single time. It still changes every day. Like, one day you wake up, you don't drink nothing, you go out the door, you fucking throw down a fucking edible. And
I
you
think,
get
but
looped.
just like even smoking, your own mood, your own energy is obviously gonna play into it. But like I know
Yes.
people that can high dose and not get the hallucinogenic effects that I definitely get, and I know a lot of people get.
Yeah.
Where I'm not getting like
I just-
full on acid. I took too much acid effects.
I get
But
I
if
get
that feels
physical
like an
effects. I get more physical, like where I feel like somebody's pushing me from behind. Stop fucking pushing me, right? Like people, I feel like someone's like pushing me the whole time. They're like, what the hell? Like they keep on trucking posting.
At any point, like in a weak moment where you're like holding yourself up against the wall, or like, don't stop, or you're like, oh man, he was just there holding himself up on the wall, like, stop it. These assholes.
I get a little twitchy though too. Sometimes I'll be like, I'll be all twitched out after if I eat way too much. Like if I try to eat like thousands of milligrams, like, oh yeah, I can do it. I don't get like hallucinogenic. Or
I got to the point where I had my inner monologue for 6 hours where it's just weed. You're not going to die. You're not a pioneer. You're not going to be the first one to do anything. You're certainly not going to be the first one to die from weed. You weigh too much. You're fat. Fat people don't die from overdoses of weed. That's not a thing.
So go to
You know? And that was just all it was, like for like 6 hours. And all of a sudden I was like, I'm good.
Just go to iloveincredibles.com. Check out the website. And
Was that an edible commercial?
That wasn't an edible commercial. Yeah, that was your version of the edible.
Yes. Know your doses.
Know your doses, kids.
Buildasoil.com.
Build a soil. These guys are in full steam right now. I'm sure this is probably the busiest time of the year for these guys because when you're growing organically, it don't matter what, indoors, outdoors, whatever, the spring just gets you excited because you can finally do those things that you wanted to do. But if you
I love
want
the sun so much.
if you want to
For my plants.
get the best in organic amendments and IPM products, soil consultation, whatever you need, give guys at buildasoil.com a shout and check out what they've got. They've also got some great deals if you're inside of Colorado, or I think was it Colorado or
New Mexico.
New Mexico. You
Definitely, if you're trying to get into
over
super
$500
soils-
free shipping, which is super dope when you're talking
Really?
about soil.
You get free shipping?
You don't want to talk soil shipping blows. That's like one of those things.
It
that's
does.
Like, yeah, it's like, hey, I'll take a couple bags of soil.
Also, remember, you got to get it off the truck. Just know, have a friend or two.
Oh yeah, when they pull up and they say, "Where's your loading dock?" and you're like, "I live in a
Loading
two-bedroom
dock?
house."
My friend Jay. Oh, I got over here. What do we get a crowbar? What are we gonna do?
But they can go to you can also go to 855-877-SOIL, and
Rock
that
that shit off right off.
and that will
I've done it.
get you a direct line on a thing called a telephone if you know how to operate those. Still, I don't know. Not many,
That's,
mostly
how
non-millennials
you're on
listening to my
computers,
show,
right?
so I think they all can still operate telephones quite.
Wait, you text it or call it?
No,
get
you
it.
call that number. That's an actual number.
With
Call
what,
it
like
and you
your
say,
voice?
"What up?"
Wait,
and
like you use your voice?
Yeah, then someone says, "Yo,"
I
and
don't
you say,
get it.
"What?"
So what's
I
on the
know.
other line? Are you
Person,
talking
human,
to like a
human?
No, so I don't, wait.
Yeah, human.
There's two humans involved.
Two at the same time. Like, phew, it's crazy. It's so technological, bro. I
fucking
wouldn't
blowing
even.
my
I don't
mind
think you
right
can
now.
handle it. You can
It's
go-
amazing what you can do with a phone these days.
It is.
You could two people, both sides.
I know.
That's the technology.
That's the
man.
last thing
It's
you do is
crazy.
actually talk to somebody.
You do. You could do anything in those things. It's amazing.
But if you get a chance and you're want to get deeper into the soil situation and you want to get like some more specialized products, you can go to our next sponsor, which is Mr. Ron Wallace from
Wallace Wow.
See? WallaceWow.com.
What's a Wallace Wow?
What's a Wallace Wow? Ron Wallace is the world record holder for giant pumpkins, and he is a rhizosphere master, and so he sells mycorrhizal products that are obviously of the highest caliber. And he also has a couple other products that are on his line. So if you check out his website, you can check out all those things. And we had a code, didn't we? Did you forget it?
ADS.
We say ADS 420 every time, but I'm sure you just get that info to him, and I'll possibly figure it out for one day. Because every
Does
time
he like custom make it for cannabis? Like
he is
like,
now. He is. Well, he's. The thing that's funny is that he has always had people, because when people see giant anything, they're like, "Give me that, I'll try it." So he's always had cannabis people working with his stuff.
anything.
Anything giant like that. Yeah, people.
Okay, I'm just gonna let that go. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
let
Go
it
ahead.
go. Let
Continue.
it go.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in the grow world. Like,
Big
we see
fruits. Anytime we see large pumpkin, go on.
you get really pumped up and think
Sure.
there's a way I can utilize this.
Yeah,
Now the
yeah,
thing is,
yeah.
of course, there's the whole ecto and
Endo and ones that
we're not
can
really
work.
we're not using a lot
Yeah.
of the same stuff, but
For sure, we want endos. We
Exactly.
think we might not want ectos, but I think
I mean, a
is
little
that
balance.
it's all a collaboration. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have endo for sure, and I think the ecto kind of helped the communication.
Exactly, and he understands that.
Doesn't
too,
make it worse, that's for sure.
So he's moving into the cannabis world a little bit more. He's grown his first couple rounds himself, and it was fun just because I was introduced by a guy who was a weed grower who became a pumpkin grower, who then wanted to join the two worlds.
I'm fascinated with mycology
So-
in every way. Like how it helps plants, how it helps roots. That's where I got started.
Well,
But
the
then I
cool-
actually went backwards into like how mushrooms I used to take mushrooms a lot, and now I like follow different things on YouTube about all different mycology as far as like eating them, being parts of your diet, using them for focus, what they do for plants. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, and I mean also that's the best part about cannabis, growing cannabis in my opinion.
1/3 of the total biomass of the earth is mycorrhizae.
Yeah, that is that.
I actually didn't make that up. That's a thing.
Yeah, there's
a
a
real
lot,
thing.
a lot going on, and that's one of the things.
It's a lot of fungi.
Once you realize that and especially when you're tripping balls, and you're the
Right?
and you're
That's
like-
exactly where I thought about that. And I
you're
was
like-
like, dude,
you're
you
like-
realize what 1/3 of the biomass is? And my friend's like, no, what is it? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I don't have an answer for that. It was rhetorical now that I think about it.
Right, but that's
A
when
lot. It's
those
a
are
lot.
the moments. Those are the moments where you're like, "Holy shit! All this shit is connected, and it's all."
It really is, though.
Yeah.
And like they actually like speak in some version of their own like Morse code, and like, they can communicate. And what is it in Washington? I think the largest organism in the world is like 1,000-foot long mycorrhizae chain. It's all connected. It's trippy. It's a fascinating world. If you
just
don't
like-
know much about mycorrhizae and how it works with roots and plants,
Well, that's
my God.
that's what this
Look at
guy's
it.
a master of, and
fucking fascinating.
he's in Rhode Island also, which gives him that that perfect kind of. If you think about
Soil.
that, if you think of that climate and that soil, you're from the same area, you understand.
I say shit.
Yeah, and get in touch with him and pick up some of those products because this is the time of year again that you need to be on point, ready to roll. And of course, what about these guys? What do you think about these guys? These jokers.
It's a toker poker.
Balls.
The toker
Joker.
poker jokers. The toker poker jokers. No. Seedsherenow.com. And the toker poker. Yes, we
Dude,
love
2
toker.
in 1.
Look at that.
I got my
You
toker
have your-
poker
you
with my
Seeds
Here
Here
Now
Now
logo.
logo. Oh.
And dude, that's like original. That's like first run.
It is pretty good. It's pretty original.
like
It's a good
old.
color too. It's the one nobody will steal.
Yeah.
That was the
Thank
perfect choice.
Dang, it's like, you know what? You shit is, baby. No one's
Yeah.
stealing this motherfucker.
Hey, you don't grab a
And
black
no
one. Black
has.
one always. I mean,
Gone.
mine are always black
Yeah.
because they're Adam Dunn show, of course. And
Also,
those
it takes me 20 minutes to find it every
are
time.
one of the most sought after toker pokers in the world. I would have to say.
Seedsherenow.com.
Seedsherenow.com. Seedsherenow.com. You have to say it like 10 times. and Seedaholics.com, of course.
Alpha Fab.
Yeah, there you go. Alpha Fabs.
Dude, I missed your microphone, bro. Yeah. It's been a while.
So, the guys from Seeds Here Now where are they at now? Where's the next show? They were just in Boston.
They were just in Boston. He
Boston
just got
crushing
back.
it. Now they're
Oh,
home.
Indo
somewhere.
Expo.
Indo Expo coming up next.
Yep.
It's going to be in what, 2?
I think they're actually in their home. I think there's a thing in Oregon. They're all over the place, man.
They are all over the place.
They really are. Like
they
every week.
They have a incredible staff that will get you the product that you need as fast and discreetly, and also guaranteed, which is awesome because it's not many guarantees in this world, but there is one with seedsherenow.com, and anything you get not satisfied
giving
with,
away free packs of GGS one right now, and some giveaway like every day. They're giving like a bunch of packs away.
giving away packs
Go to their
every day.
website, check it out. I don't know the deal, but it's like we gave them 100 packs to give away in a month. So
You're so kind.
it wasn't out of kindness. It's marketing.
So kind.
We had extra packages.
So go to seedsherenow.com, get in touch with them, check out
And
the specials.
I'm awesome. Yeah,
Uh,
but also the first.
James, if you're around and you
Out
want
of
to call in,
kindness of
feel
your
free.
heart.
Being real. Come on now. It is nice to give seeds away, though. It really is. Like, it's fun.
It is.
Especially when you see them, like, on Instagram or whatever. You're like, dude, that's that freebie I got. I'm like, I like that. Yeah, so about that.
It's
especially
very
if
nice
free.
to track your
It
stuff.
feels
And
like
also, we don't have a... We
Then
don't
you
have
can
the
search your hashtags, your
treasure.
strains
Where's
now.
a treasure? We need a treasure. picture from our buddies in Barcelona. Our buddies in Barcelona with their...
You should get on Instagram. You can search your hashtags instead of following people. You can follow hashtags.
Yeah.
So put all your strains in there, and dude, your feed's all you. It's the best. Instagram's amazing. You could just follow your shit.
I know.
Every hashtag about you, you just follow that. And it's like, wow, look at everyone's talking about this. Is the shit. Instagram just got good.
Yeah. You're like, finally, it's all about me now.
Yeah.
This is even way
People
better.
really talk about Sage a lot.
Yeah. Oh, Sage, yeah, they do. It's a lot of Sage.
But it really pops up. Like you said, you could follow it. You could follow your own hashtags, and you'd be amazed. There's thousands. Yeah.
Yeah, every so often I'll...
Especially some South Americans and Europeans, for some reason, they just love fucking talking about your shit.
Thanks. Thank you for that stroke.
They're already doing it. I'm not stroking it. They're fucking... It is what it is.
Thanks for the stroke.
Hey, get on any odd Eastern European thread, man, and you are the shit.
You are the man. You're the man.
No, but there is like a weird retro thing, I think, in certain areas of the world, including pockets of America, where there's an old Dutch retro thing where they're like, no, we're cool with what we have. We're very happy with everything that's going on. You do your thing.
Yeah.
I get it. And the thing is, like, I've gone through that, and now I'm going back to it. Now I'm going back to those old big Dutch strains.
All right, now we're talking Mr. Boom. Hello there. Is this Mr.
¿Qué pasa?
John Willard III?
This is, yeah.
Oh, hello, sir. Thank you for calling in to the Adam Dunn Show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, we missed you last week, but it was a little crazy. So it was. I knew it was going to get that way too. So I wanted to give you the best time possible, so we could discuss a bit about your incredible product that you've had for a long time, which I was quite familiar with. I had sat on a panel at one point, I think, with you, maybe. Did you do the show here?
What?
You did the show in Denver, or who did the show in Denver? A couple.
I did. That's right. That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
I did. That's right.
Yeah, we sat next to each other. We sat next.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sat next to each other there. So I was totally familiar with your product from that time when we met. And then later I had a friend who was just raving about it at one point from California. So it all kind of, I definitely know that there's a lot there. And it's one of those incredible products because it's so simple in a weird, well, maybe not simple, but it is just like there's not a whole program or anything like that. It's just an interesting product. So tell us a bit about how this whole thing came about and a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'll tell you how you describe it as a fairly simple concept. It actually really is. It's I was just talking. We've been doing a lot of work in Zambia this morning, or this last couple of months. I was talking to somebody in Zambia, and I said, there's this tendency to just overcomplicate things, and it's really not that hard. Basically, my grandfather was a chemist. He invented this product in invented it in 1965 and began selling it in 1973. And we have been in continuous business since then. And basically what the product is it's a water additive, and we actually still don't know exactly why it's doing what it's doing, but what we do know is when it's added to the water, it is somehow making the water a more efficient delivery system, and we see that in all cellular beings. We see an increase in cellular absorption and utilization of nutrients. And the practical effect of that with plants, what that means is that you get basically more bang for your buck. It helps your plants better absorb and utilize those nutrients, that the fertilizer or whatever nutrients you're putting with it. And so what we do, for example, in Zambia and Mozambique, we're working with a lot of international nonprofits to help them cut back on farmers' expenses and increase farmer profit. And what we're doing there is we're reducing fertilizer. We reduce fertilizer by about 50%. And we see yield increases somewhere between 15 and 20%, and we see that fairly consistently.
Yeah, and like one of the things I was wondering about is when this product seems really stable, because I've seen it on the shelf at shops for it's like one of those things where it's definitely a specialized product, and I was just always wondering,
I
like,
got so many questions.
You have so many. Good. Jump in on the conversation at any given moment. But what's the natural? Like, what is the shelf life of it? Natural.
Pretty long, actually. My grandfather tested a bottle over the course of about a decade, and saw no changes at all to the product. And so that's pretty substantial. And we've had people who have opened it and left it open, and really, you just don't see any serious problems with it. It's a proprietary formula. It's created through a proprietary formula, and we just don't see any major changes. So once those molecules are bound together, they stay that way.
Not asking any specific, but like it's a liquid form, powder form, it's, organic extraction.
It's called Willard's water, so I would say it's probably
a liquid form.
Yeah,
Willard's water.
It's a liquid form.
Just add water.
We sell it as plant
Dehydrated.
catalyst, Dr. Willard's water. It's all the same thing. It's just to sell something for a plant product in the United States, we have to have it registered per state. So we called it plant catalyst in the agricultural field because the government requires us to use different labels.
Yeah. It's such a weird business, that whole getting anything listed. So is it a tea, basically? It's a combination of different organics?
No, not at all. I know it's difficult for people to sort of wrap their heads around it.
I'm trying to. I'm going to keep asking questions, so I don't want to wrap it around, but I'd like to get a grip on like half, maybe an ear. You know?
No. Please.
Just like if you could, I might have missed something. So is there a source that you said, or is that part of the proprietary?
It's a proprietary. Basically, it's a proprietary chemical solution.
Okay.
And it's a water additive. And when you call it a chemical, it's somewhat unappetizing. It's made with natural ingredients. It's mostly salts, a little bit of charcoal lignite in there, a little bit of castor oil. My grandfather was basically playing around with lignite. And what he was actually trying to do originally was to create a lignite water for pigs, actually. So he was trying to find something that was completely non-toxic. And
have you ever frozen it and looked under on a slide?
Yes, my grandfather's done that. My grandfather did a number of tests, froze it, heated it, tested it. But
I mean, because they talk about like how like live water, like there's different things you can change the water, so when you freeze it, like literally it changes like snowflakes. You get like the snowflake changes into a different snowflake. And like they can
we've never done that.
They're like different things, different types of water depending on the life of the water, like dictates the actual what the crystal looks like under a slide. And it gives you like a hint of like what it's kind of made of. But what's fascinating is they've shown that water actually can die. Like there's live water puts off this perfect snowflake type crystals. Right. But once water becomes completely anaerobic or it's in some sort of negative situation, when you freeze it, it just becomes these little like strings of frozen crystals, like none of the snowflakes and stuff like that.
No snowflakes.
But like we were looking at some different like magic teas that had kind of these claims and blah blah blah, but it worked, and did the same thing. And like all the crystals are frozen in these very very cool structures. We're like, I don't know what it means. I don't know what it means.
What is the freezing
but
point?
It's cool.
What is the freezing point of the Willard's water? Is it lower or higher than normal water, or?
I don't know.
Have
To be totally honest, I don't know. I've never done that kind of stuff. My grandfather did it.
Sure.
Honestly, I had somebody. I spent a lot of time when I first took over the company about 7 years ago. I spent a lot of money on cellular studies and microbial studies, and really trying to get down into figuring out how does it work and why does it work.
Real quick, sorry, I have to interject. You're watering this in, right? It's just like a drench, not a foliar, or both.
Excuse me?
You're watering it into the plant, into the rhizosphere, versus like a foliar? I'm just trying to grasp how it's used.
Sure. We put it foliar and on the roots, but I happen to think it's actually better used as foliar spray.
Okay.
But anyway, to finish the thought,
sorry about that.
I spent a lot of money trying to figure it out. That's all right. I spent a lot of money trying to figure it out, and I had a friend that said to me, basically, why do you care? All that matters is that it works, and you should be spending, rather than spending your money trying to crack the code, you should be spending your money proving that it works. And so from that point on, I've spent all our money on research proving that it works rather than trying to figure out how it works.
It's easier to prove that it works and find out sometimes what it does. It could be so many complicated, variables. It's tough to prove how. Well, I mean, the actual metric is it to have something's effectiveness.
So it's not organic at all, or is it half organic, or what's this?
It's all natural. It's 99. Well, if you're in the let me put it this way.
What's your definition of organic?
If I were in the European Union, we'd be organic. But unfortunately, we're in the United States, and it's not organic. So it's There's one ingredient called sodium silicate that represents about 0.001% of the product, and that's not organic. And that's it. The rest of it's all organic.
And it's actually benign. So.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so it is so realistically, it's organic in the sense of 99.99.
I kind of look at organics as, okay, is it toxic? Is it potentially toxic? What are its
No, not at all.
What are its effects? Because I see all these different definitions of organic for different states, different, you hear the pay to play, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, like, the bottom line is, like, if it's a nutrient or some version of that, if it's going in the roots, it's once it's absorbed, regardless of its source, it's the same. The difference is, like, okay, what's left behind there? But I find that it's a very confusing, murky subject.
So, so in the cannabis...
Yeah, it really is. It's a terrible subject, actually. I spent a lot of time trying to get it organic certified. And it basically...
Gotta find that guy to put that money in the pocket. I don't know.
I just tell you how crazy it is we, like I said, the sodium silicate is 0.001% of the concentrate product. So by the time you dilute it down, it's non-existent. And that's what keeps us from getting organic certified. But if you were a fruit grower and you soaked your fruit in a big vat of sodium silicate and then dumped all that on the ground, that would still be... It's in our product it's not, but normally it is used as a preservative.
Is it as a suspension?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I got it. Yeah, so you have to have it or iodized.
Yeah, so that's how ridiculous it is. You could use a huge vat, you could soak the vegetables and everything in it, and those would be considered organic, but ours wouldn't be considered organic because we have 0.001%, and it's not classified as organic in that area.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because there's so many other types of organic labels that are definitely way not. I mean, just because of the fact that they're in a different category or whatever. But so how big of a scale have this product been used? Is it like only been delivered? Has it been delivered on like large scale agricultural things, like doing thousands of acres or anything like that, or is it?
Yes.
Yeah?
So you spent money to prove it. So prove it.
Yes.
Where did you do it? What was your how'd you do it?
We started out by sponsoring a greenhouse study it started about 5 years ago, and it was a 3-year greenhouse study. It was actually South Dakota State University, which of course is our local university. A professor became interested in it, and he was interested in a bunch of different things, and he wanted to get it done. For whatever reason, he had this theory that he wanted to test it under the most extreme examples. So we built a greenhouse up in Colorado, actually, right outside of Steamboat in Colorado. We built a greenhouse. We found a greenhouse grower there. Yep. We found just cold called.
I had alternative methods. He's like, I want to do extreme environment, putting like Steamboat right off like a slide out, ski out kind of spot, and I could just. All right. So at elevation, how high was that? 9,000?
Oh, well, it wasn't quite Steamboat. It was I can't remember the town. It was between 70 and Steamboat. You went north.
But it was like over 7,000, huh?
South. Oh yeah. It was in the mountains. I mean, he wanted to test more extreme conditions, and so we found a greenhouse grower, actually a guy who owned a greenhouse supply store in right outside of Steamboat, and he was a grower as well. He had a couple of greenhouses. And so what we did is we just built another greenhouse on his property and said, run it just like you normally would. And then Dr. Reese from South Dakota State flew up to the Steamboat area a couple times a year, and gave this gentleman, Scott was his name, and said, this is what I want you to do with it. And just run it like you normally would and weigh them like you normally would. And one half of the greenhouse would be treated with plant catalyst, and one half the greenhouse would just be left alone. And he basically, what he would do is he had these different stations, and he would flip a coin, and he would say, okay, the one on the left is plant catalyst, the one on the right is control, or the one on the right is control, or plant catalyst, the one on the left is, and he would do that throughout the greenhouse, and then he would just grow them as normal, and he would cut the fertilizer. He cut the fertilizer to the plant catalyst treated plants 50%, and he used Johnny seeds, just plain old Johnny seeds, and then he used a liquid fertilizer and a foliar feed as well, and then basically just put plant catalyst. And he put 2 ounces of plant catalyst. His res was 27 gallons, and he put 2 ounces of plant catalyst in that every time he changed it out. And that was the only difference.
How are you watering? Your res was feeding what?
It was actually a hydroponic. It was a hydroponic operation.
Oh, yeah, rock wool.
Rock wool. Yep. So they also, by the way, soaked the rock wool. He also soaked the rock wool in a 5-gallon bucket, and in the control, it was just 5 gallons of water, and soaked them, and then inserted the seeds in it. And then in the plant catalyst, once again, he just put 2 ounces of plant Dr. Willard's plant catalyst, in that, and soaked them that way as well, and tested germination rates too. So we got much better germination rates, much better strength out of germination, root growth, et cetera, et cetera.
There's gibberellic acid in it.
What's that?
There's gibberellic acid in it if it improved your germination rate.
No, that's not it. That's not correct. Nope.
It's like, damn.
Well, I don't know of any other.
Damn you, gibberellic.
Any chemical that could actually improve.
Well, it's
like you're saying it improved your germination in percentage, or how well they germinated and how strongly they germinated.
Both actually.
Without
and then Dr. Reese. What's that?
Without enhancing gibberellic acid.
It does not have that. No, it doesn't have any of that in there. It was just water or plant catalyst.
I'm saying the plant catalyst is the gibberellic acid.
It's not. No, it's not at all.
Not just that. No, I'm not saying it's
trying,
just gibberellic acid. I'm saying like it may have some in there. It sounds like that's just. That's no. Anyway, so okay, cool. So
yeah, like I said, don't compare it to anything else, because I mean I know this sounds self-serving, but there literally is nothing else like it, and so you just got to say it. And
I'm open. I'm playing both skeptic and open. I'm totally, you know what I mean. I'm assuming that it works, but I'm also skeptically saying, okay, if it works, let's also break it. You know, like I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, but also want to break it down. You know what I mean?
Sure, and you should. Absolutely, you should.
Well, like I mean, I like that you're answering the questions. Like at this point, a lot of people just panic and call me a dick.
Yeah, that's what I usually do. I usually do.
Like, yeah, you're an asshole. Like I'm really just curious. Like I'm not even trying to. I just want to know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
cause I'm totally down, because I've used a lot of things. I have no idea to this day how they worked, and they work. So it's okay.
I think that's the crazy part about a lot of products. It's like, you know, the ones that are like that just fucking work. You know what I mean? You're like, okay.
It's hard to argue some things where you're like, you can give it a name, but that shit fucking. Yeah. There's the results.
Right. And, you know, and there's a few products out there like Hydrozyme and things like that, which
there's
are like
things we don't know.
We're kind of like, you know, does this work or not? And people are like, there's a lot of weird like. And I think
especially when it comes to the rhizosphere, when it comes to the roots, how they feed, all this, all blah blah blah, whatever. We can get all into the mycology, all these bacteria. There's so much we just don't know.
So
there's a lot of mystery.
With the Willard splitter,
it makes sense that there's things that we wouldn't understand how they work.
What about human consumption with Willard?
Don't drink it.
Yeah, we have some on human consumption as well.
Can I ask? Sorry, I cut you off. But can I digress back? So you said you used it in a side by side, one where you used it in the other. End results. Were your weights? Did you have a metric that you came up with? Like the
yes, he came up with this was tomatoes, lettuce, jalapeno peppers, and green bell peppers.
Okay. And
he ran through 3 cycles, so 3 successive cycles, so basically over 3 years. And then he would just have Scott weigh them and weigh how much weight we got out of these today, how much weight we got out of the control, et cetera, et cetera. And Scott would just write them down, and then he would email them to Dr. Reese every day. Say, I picked X number of tomatoes, and the gross weight was this, and et cetera, et cetera. And he took pictures, and he had to measure the roots. And then what he would also do is he would randomly. Dr. Reese had a program on his computer that would randomly assign a number, and so each one of the plants had a number assigned to them, and he would say, okay, pull me plant number 3, break it down, put it in FedEx, and send it to me overnight. And then Dr. Reese would measure the roots and measure the stalks and all that,
Cool.
And that happened weekly as well. And so Dr. Reese basically collected all this data, and then he published it in a peer-reviewed journal, and it went through a pretty intensive peer review process where a number of scientists reviewed all of the data.
I love slapping that shit down.
Yeah, they do, and he said it was the most.
People will lie to try to fuck up someone's stuff. It seems like.
Yeah, he said it was the most intensive peer review process he's ever had, and we came out of it.
How long ago was that?
That was published in 2016. It was published in July of 2016. And it showed that using plant catalyst, once again, we reduced fertilizer by 50%.
Maintaining yield
sorry,
go ahead.
What's that?
I'm sorry, I interrupt. So, reducing it by 50%.
He basically, he just used 50% less fertilizer.
To get the same result?
To use X, he just basically cut it in half. Is what he did.
To be able to get the same result? Is that was the goal? Is to get the same result with half the fertilizer?
Yeah, but he got better results, and the goal was actually to get better results. And so we ended up with half the fertilizer, increased lettuce 13%, increased the yield on tomatoes 24%, increased the yield on bell peppers 48%, and increased the yield on jalapeno peppers by 52% with half the fertilizer.
Okay, so I have to ask a couple questions because those are big numbers.
Sure.
And there are big-time professional pepper growers. I met one once at a bar. It's a very strange man.
I met one at a bar.
He was like, "What are you into jalapenos?" I'm like, "What?" So I guess part of those questions is understanding is one, do you check water weight versus dry weight on these fruits? And, like, is there a significant, like, increase in water that actually is lost? So, like, is it the turgor that's adding the weight, or is it actual plant material? It would be one question.
He tested both, actually. He the water weight was the most aggressively tested, of course, because basically what Scott was doing was he was picking the plant, and he had a scale on site. Of course, he's a greenhouse grower, so he had a scale on site, and he would send measurements. He would take those measurements every day, and so those were obviously water weight. But then once again, he would have to send a random sampling.
Well, I mean, it can be as you take weights though before it dries. It's a combination of water and material.
And then he would have to then send a certain sample of those fruits and vegetables back to Dr. Reese via FedEx, and then Dr. Reese would dry them out and put them in a. I just lost my train of thought there. But he was
drying out the samples. We're talking about water weight.
Yeah.
And like the different samples. I actually, let me ask it. I rephrased it poorly. I guess is that increase based on the wet fruit or the dried fruit? Like
it's based on the wet fruit.
Okay.
It's based on the wet fruit. Absolutely.
Okay. And is there a significant loss? I guess is my follow-up. It's like, is a ton of that gain water? Now, I'm not saying loss like you're going to sell the fruit dry, but I'm asking is a significant portion of that gain in water weight versus actual, like, carbon, you know what I mean? Like, material is you know what I mean? Like, if you were to dry it out, like, and I'm just asking to ballpark,
he didn't notice
totally
a statistical
ballpark.
difference. I will say that after he dried them out, he didn't notice a statistical difference between the plants. So the Willard plant or the Willard treated plants were bigger consistently across the board.
So even dry, like, let's say if they were 10% bigger wet, they were also 10% bigger dry?
He didn't notice a difference between the dry fruits and the wet fruits in those in the percentages.
Wow.
So in other words, he felt confident in publishing those numbers. Keep in mind, he's a professor.
I get it. Yeah, you said peer reviewed. I take that very seriously.
Yeah, he definitely.
Yes.
No, I'm not touching it at all. No, I'm not touching
No, I'm saying, I said I take that very seriously when you say it's peer reviewed, and so like I said, I'm giving you benefit of that all the way. I'm actually fascinated, like with how, with how it may work. That's my mind's just going in a creative way, like in a fun way. But I want to try it out. I'm curious. I love stuff that I will obsess. If no one's ever figured it out, maybe I won't. But like I may be like I'll be 85 on my deathbed. Like, I still don't know how that Williams wonder works.
Yeah. Well, the you guys have been in grow shops for quite a while, right?
Yeah.
Because that's one of the
familiar
things
with
that because a lot of companies like don't want to venture into the world of cannabis. Well, who was the first person to sort of pick up on that? Do you know?
I do. I don't know that he was the first, but he certainly was the first who really started selling the product, and it was in the early 90s. It was like 91 or 92. It was a guy named Chris from Canada, and his mother owned a health food store, and his girlfriend, British Columbia has had legalization for quite a long time. The entire country hasn't, but they allowed the province of British Columbia to grow, sort of like what we have today, I guess, in Colorado and in California. And so Chris's one of his friends and his girlfriend were growing, and they were having problems with their plants. And he said that the plants were dying. And he asked his mom. His mother was also an organic gardener. And he asked her if she had anything. She said, "Oh, you should put some Willard's water on that. You should put it in a spray bottle and just spray it, and it'll help those plants recover." And he did. And the plants recovered completely. And so he began to do more sort of like his own personal research to try to figure out how it worked. And then eventually he began to sell it. And today he says, and this is his claim, which I think you guys have talked to him, you can follow up, but he says that just about every cannabis grower in British Columbia is using our product today. That was, 30 years ago. But
that's not actually a good thing, because here the reputation is that was the worst weed ever grown on the planet. It was 30 years ago in British Columbia. I'm not kidding. We call it beasters. It's actually like an adjective that came around making fun of how bad the cannabis was. I'm not making this up. I'm not trolling you.
No.
This is a real thing.
Good, but hopefully it's better today. You'd like to think that they've improved in the last 30 years.
I don't know. We stopped getting it. Here's the thing. Who knows? It's all about who's growing it and what they're doing with it. That's a lot has a lot to do with it. And I'm not saying it was even in the same product. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying there's an actual correlation. I just find it ironic. But I would ask,
like, British Columbia talk.
Yeah. No. I mean BC's a big place, but it's so I would ask that, why isn't ag using it especially on peppers? 50% increase. How come not all of them are using it?
How expensive is the production cost? Is it really?
That was my follow-up.
Pretty
my
light,
thunder.
Pretty light. And that's a very good question. The big question I always get is,
So
why
is the
aren't we
follow-up.
bigger? And I think that's a very legitimate question. I get it all the time. And honestly, if you'd met my dad and my grandfather, you'd know why we're not bigger. I mean, it's not a knock on them. It's just that they didn't care to, and they didn't promote it. So if you talk to farmers in South Dakota, they use it. If you talk to farmers in North Dakota, they use it. Quite a few of them.
What does that mean? So let's say, like, I'm not going to do this because I'm not only follow through and shit. But let's say I was going to actually try to ask South Dakota farmers, like, how many of them use it. Like, what does that mean? Like, they use it like half, like more than half? Because
I don't know. It's probably not half.
But like a significant, like a third, maybe, like above the population. Like,
maybe a third. Yeah, there's
a lot.
Quite a few. We have quite a few farmers.
Yeah.
We have weird, like, it's kind of a weird development. Like, we have parts of South Dakota that are really big. We have parts of Kansas, like western Kansas.
Right.
We have a lot of farmers in western Kansas where we send gallons and barrels to them. We have, like, little pockets of people where, like, you know what I mean, like where neighbors talked about it. Or we have Wisconsin. We have a lot of farmers in Wisconsin.
And do they report numbers similar to the ones that you guys got in your test?
Yeah.
At least ballpark.
Well, I don't think they've ever done, like, I don't know if they've ever said, okay, this is what the numbers are, but
sure.
They share it with their neighbors, and then their neighbors call us, and so it's kind of grown that way. But like I said, my family never really spent any money on outreach or anything like that. My grandpa's way of doing things was he just said, here's my product, do what you want with it. So there wasn't even like a specific agricultural business plan, so to speak. It was, people would buy it, and they didn't have like, it had like this white label on it that was just like said Willard water, and there was nothing on it about how to use it at all.
Right.
And there was no website,
everything
and
starts
there was no
like
material.
that,
Sure. Well, sometimes there's too much information, like on Dr. Bronner's soap. There's like so much information. You're like, oh my god, it takes me a week to read this, and then you get other products like that where it's just like, use it.
I remember labels are from people's printers.
Well, the thing is, there's no real
paper.
Toxic level of it. I mean, obviously you can't just go pure, but it's not toxic in any way, shape, or form, right? So.
No, not at all. It's completely. Once again, it's also sold as a drink. I mean, in Denver, if you went to probably all over Colorado. If you went to Vitamin Cottage, you could buy a Vitamin Cottage to drink. You could buy the Whole Foods to drink at Whole Foods, and so it's not toxic at all. It's the same. It's the exact same product. It's just rebottled because, like I said, regulations require us to sell a plant product with a plant label.
Huh. So people do it as a tonic type thing, and
No, I'm fucking fascinated.
It's the same general concept. It'll boost the absorption, for example, of B vitamins. We have a couple of studies on B vitamins. We have some studies on antioxidants that boost the absorption of antioxidants. It's recharging, interestingly enough, recharging some antioxidants in the cells and not others, which is completely baffling why it would do some and not others. But, like, for example, vitamin E really boosts recharges the hell out of vitamin E. But it doesn't do the same thing to vitamin C. It just increases absorption, but it doesn't recharge it. So who knows?
Question. So when it comes to cannabis, often when you add a product that increases your yield, there's a loss of quality, regardless of what that product is. Have you heard that at all as a possibility or a side effect from some of the people that have used it? Like, a little less resin, a little less smell.
I've not heard that, but I do know a lot of our people also use it in the flush. That they feel like it gets a cleaner flush if they use it in the flush as well, and so that might be part of it. It's a big part of what people do with it. So it may be not as good, I guess. I mean, I'm just speculating here if you don't use it in the flush, but people are pretty happy with it.
But you haven't heard anyone say that, like, hey, I got really big yields, but a little bit loss in quality?
Honestly, no. I've never heard anyone say that to me, and I know that I'm a spokesperson. People are going to be like, that's bullshit, but it's true. I mean, I've never had anybody call me and say, boy,
I highly suggest just doing a super basic, finding like a grow where you can do a control of take, everything being equal and then give one your tea and then do the yield, but also test the oils because that's really a big part of it. So if your oils, if your percentage of, oils are the same as well as your yield, that's a huge deal versus if your yield goes up but your oils go down, like percentage wise.
Well, if you know anybody who wants to, I don't have a good facility to do side by side. So if you know anyone who wants to do it,
I have a 6,500 square foot
it.
R&D facility. That's just for plant physiology and genetics.
I'd do it for you. I'd give you product if you want to do the testing. I'd give you the product and help fund it.
When we get off air, I'll give you an address. I'll give you an address to a docking bay you can send it to.
Cool.
Yeah, I think
I'm at least interested. I don't like proving people wrong. I usually don't waste my time proving people wrong. I wouldn't do this if I didn't think there was a chance of it working. And if it does work, cool. Because I'm a kind of person. If I get something that's 3%, like legitimately 3% increase across the board that helps me, that's a big deal. I don't need 40.
Well, yeah.
I don't need 40. If I can get a product that's like, consistently everything's up 3-4%, that kind of thing. And I can measure that. That's a number I'm fully happy with. I don't need big, huge, bloated numbers. If it's measurable, it's usable. It's a good thing. So I'd be very curious to try.
And I'm not afraid of it at all. If anyone wants to do it,
I sense your confidence, and I feel like it's been vetted. And like I said, look, here's the thing. I don't typically ask people to try stuff. I got so many bottles of so many things laying around. But I'm curious. At least 50% of me is in. The other 50% was like, don't do it. But 50% of me believes that I will see a positive effect.
I have a guy in California. I have a guy in California who's had the same room for 12 years. He's got his numbers pretty dialed in, and another friend of his gave him this product, just kind of like, hey, check this out. He's not a grower at all. He just sort of. And that guy came back to him honestly, slack-jawed, holy shit, dude.
Here's the thing. If I try something and I get a result that's even that I don't like, I'm not unhappy. I just like trying stuff anyway, side by side.
Sure.
So I'm sure something beneficial will come. I'm curious to see if I notice any, like I said, maybe I noticed a slight terpene decrease. Maybe it increased. You know what I mean? I'm just curious to see, especially if, like you say, it's a product that works differently. I understand that because it's hard to explain how some things work. Quantify it or whatever it may be, but I'm curious to at least if it does work differently. I like seeing things grow differently, so I do side by side, especially strains that I've grown a bunch of times, and I'd be happy to try it out, see what happens. It'd be fun.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I would like to know as well. I mean, if we do see differences in oil, I mean that's something that's really good for me to be able to say, yep, we do, or no, we don't, or. Those are.
Well, what we could do is we
get
like a total mass, in an area, and then a total oils. You know what I mean? And then see, if there's, let's say there's a decrease in oil percentage, but there's such an increase in mass that small decrease in oils is fine. That kind of thing. That's where you can really crunch some numbers in there a little bit, and that's often where that fine line is. 30% higher yield, but 10% less oils. So you're like, okay, I'll take it.
I think you always. I think with a lot of products.
I'm not saying it's going to lose oils, by the way. I'm just saying that's something that's common. We're like, okay, I'll take that loss.
Yeah, I think with everything that you put out, whenever you add a product into a plant and it produces more, you almost 95% of the time do lose something somewhere along the way, just because that's just nature of the beast. You know what I mean? Like there's usually
Occasionally,
occasionally
each
a
flower
little-
has a homeostasis.
Yeah,
Has
occasionally-
just the
occasionally-
right amount of everything.
occasionally it'll work on that without sacrificing it, but and that's why it's nice when it is like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5%. Then it's kind of like nice,
Right, because
but when it gets up to like
quality with 2 or 3%.
but once it gets up to like crazy numbers, and like the thing is with peppers and stuff like that, it's a lot different than cannabis. Cannabis is such a specific type of plant where it grows. It doesn't, it's not like putting on so much water weight, hopefully. Sure. And if it is, it's a total disappointment.
But if it actually does raise the turgor and the water weight of the plant, that means the plant's can be healthier and doing other things better.
But you get
I'm
those.
curious, at least, just to see.
You get those. I mean, and I think a lot of it depends if you
it.
grow hydro or soil too. You're going to see difference in probably.
Of course,
because hydro plants, when they get activated in that sense.
Do you need microbes to break any of it down, or is it already all salt soluble?
It's all salt soluble.
Oh, okay. So it's fine. Either way, it's gonna be the same.
Yeah.
All right, game on.
Yeah, you'll see some interesting things with pH as well. I mean, if you're a hydroponic, you'll see some interesting things.
I'm actually more of an amended cocoa, highly aerated, so it's like hydroponic-ish, but it's in cocoa drip.
Cool.
So how does it affect pH in which way?
It seems to stabilize it a little bit, and
Okay.
it's actually kind of interesting because the concentrate has a fairly high pH. It can be like 11.9 in the concentrate, but of course you're only putting like a couple ounces into a large container, and so it's not affecting, theoretically it shouldn't affect the pH at all.
Mm-hmm.
But you would think that if it did affect the pH, it would raise it. But in fact, in this greenhouse study that they did outside of Steamboat, they actually they noticed that it was actually helping to bring the pH down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually used less pH down than pH up. So it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it depends on where you are. Like some places, you hardly use any pH up, and then there's other times like where I'm using organic materials.
I haven't used pH up and down in years.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like to tell people that because then they get mad and they want to troll and argue. It's so unnecessary. If you're in hydro, it's totally different. If you're in hydro, it's different.
Yeah.
But cocoa, I don't have bottles. I don't even bother. It's not a thing.
I don't even
all
use
those
water.
all
I don't
those
even
charts,
use water,
all those charts that were put out with the 6.5 and phosphorus and 5.8. Well, I did a travel RX where we ran one of them at 4.0 and the other at 5.8, and we couldn't tell the difference. 4 months, and then here's the thing: the runoff at the end was the cocoa. We tested the cocoa a bunch of different places. It was 5.9 on one, 5.8 in the other. That was the only difference we could find. Was like, so the cocoa just buffered everything out almost instantly.
I was gonna say stabilized everything.
Yeah, so like we were watering it at 4, and like even later testing, it was like right to 5.9. Within minutes.
The miracle of cocoa.
Well, anything buffered, peat, soil.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't pH anything. And which is funny because every time there's an issue, like on Facebook, like, what do you think's going on? First was like pH. I'm like, pH which? They're like, oh, I read this chart. I'm like, that's not a real thing. That was a color thing that some guy just put out in the 70s. Like,
Well, I mean,
it's an organic
you can
macro
go off
breakdown.
If you're on hydro, you can go off the rails pretty fast without pH in your plants. You gotta be really careful.
I'm talking a buffered substrate.
If
I'm
you're
not
in-
talking hydro.
Once you're in soil and other things, you can be a little more flexible, but still,
Not a little.
It's nice to.
I dare anyone to try it. It's unbelievable how any buffered substrate. I'm not talking hydro. I'm not talking deep water culture. Just for fun, get a small plant and don't ever pH like that plant and see if you see any difference whatsoever. You won't. And pH and
And if it does, and you lose your crop, you just blame.
I said one small
Ethos,
plant.
genetics,
One small plant.
genetics,
One small plant.
Ethos,
I have killed
Ethos.
way more plants than most people, both on purpose and not on purpose. But like I have purposely killed stuff sometimes, just trying stuff out. I'm gonna push it. Oh, yep, okay. More is not better. It's fun. That's part of how the learning is.
Yeah.
You don't think I'll be just like hammering one of the plants with Willard's water? Just like that's all you get, bro. You know what I mean? You're just mainlining that stuff right in there. Just get it in there.
So do you know what the general dosage is? Just like what would a gallon? How long would that go
What's
for?
the protocol here?
Just in general.
It should go for quite a while. I mean, it depends on how big your res is, and how often you change your res, and how often you recycle.
What if you're not? Let's choose like I feed in a cocoa top, so we like everything's made right then and there and fed, so we don't change our res. That's not a thing. We can always add that to it,
So how do you water though?
Drip emitters.
strips?
Yeah, it's pretty common.
And how do you feed the water out of there? Where do you get the water from? You don't have a res where the water comes out?
No, we have dosatrons. Yeah, so it's like we have basically concentrates, and then it pulls it up, and it puts it at like a 1 to 50 or 1 to 100 ratio.
So it sort of drips into the lines as it
It drips into the lines. It mixes as it goes.
instead of filling up a reservoir at one given moment.
It skips the reservoir altogether.
So then
okay.
It takes it directly from the concentrate,
So
mixes it as it goes into the line.
You'd have a Willard water line.
And then there's like a
that would-
detector that makes everything perfect on the way out.
It's basically like how.
Well, you could add Willards in there at any concentration you want. You can add
Exactly.
anything at any point.
Yeah, it's like having the gun at the restaurant there, where you can just mix any drinks.
So
you can
basically,
mix
you just
any
need
food.
to add.
you know, boom.
It's custom. You could add as many lines as you want. It's one more pump just to put on. So you could add it and just add it in at the whatever desired amount is. It acts.
It's
as
literally mainlining Willard's water.
It's as if we're making a reservoir and then watering it right away. It's just without the reservoir. But we do have reservoirs there where we could make some and top feed. It's not like we don't have options of using.
You don't have
it.
you have no reservoirs, bro.
I got garbage pails.
There you go.
I got
There you
Home
go.
Depot buckets like a motherfucker.
Well, you should be able to just feed it right in there, and we just send you a bottle. You can feed it right in there too, and just program it in. But I wouldn't.
Yeah, on a side, I don't mind doing a top feed if it's something small. You know what I mean? Just get on the sides. Like it's not like I don't need to I could just have everything else running fine and just do a couple plants off the side with it, and just do a little top feed. But I love trying new stuff out. It'd be good. And we got High Times coming down. Do a whole coverage of the grow here. It'll be so. Maybe if it's amazing, you'll get quite some coverage. So,
there we go. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. It will be amazing, but I want to make sure that you.
I truly hope I see. If I just see a difference, I'll be happy. I don't even need it to be measurable. If I'm like, I think it's working. I'm happy.
And then
I'm happy.
has the Dr. Willard's line expanded in any way?
I say it only because I've tried almost everything.
Is it just the same simple one simple product, or just like you said before, like you can get it in health food stores and stuff like that? So that's the two lines you guys are doing right now.
Yeah, we have the Willard water line, and we do have a pet product line as well, which gets the same thing, and it's a plant line. And it's really big in pets. We got
making 47%.
I don't know if you ever heard the whole dog journal. They've done a couple of articles on it, and there was an encyclopedia of natural pet care. This big
Who is this
Bible.
Willard, and what did he do? How is this? What is this miracle Aztec formula you've got? What is going on?
So
he was just he always just said he was just a chemist, and he always when he said he invented this, he just said I just got lucky. He was not intending to invent it,
and that means he was brilliant. Means he was brilliant.
Doing research. Yeah, he was just
when you get some guy who says that, trust me, he's just genius, and also I'm sure there was some catalyst that helped with the luck, but. When people say they got lucky and stuff like that, that just means they're just crazy genius and don't know how to explain it. And got lucky on one thing that.
And so when did your grandfather die?
It's got unicorn eyes in it.
Right. the what year did he die?
My grandpa died in 1991.
And so at that point in time, what was it like as that transition went over, what was the sort? I mean, obviously it was small. The company's not big or anything. But did he get a chance to see the product kind of used by some major players at that point, or what was his feeling at that moment? Like it was about to change the world, or was it kind of how people at that moment in time it's their whole thing, or was he kind of, as you said, sort of a little bit indifferent, didn't really give a shit beyond?
He really wanted it to. My grandpa had worked on the Manhattan Project, the development of the atomic bomb.
Oh, there you go.
He was teaching at that time. He was teaching chemistry at DMI.
Uh-huh.
And so that really affected him, and he always said that I didn't want that to be his legacy. So he really hoped that it could be something, although I have to say he hoped that this product would cure cancer or do something really crazy like that.
Maybe it will.
And
or at least help plants do it.
For the record.
What's that?
It does not help cure cancer or anything like that. But
you're the only person not claiming that right now with the product. That's good.
Yeah, let's wipe that off. But that's one of the reasons that I've gone on to the international development world and where we're helping farmers, where I've put a lot of my focus onto that, because it was something my grandfather always talked about, and he always would say to me, you know, if you ever take over this business, this is really important to me. I want to make sure that we leave some sort of positive mark in the world. And it sounds cheesy, but it was literally his dying wish.
Sure. Well, that's awesome. And the thing is, I mean, also right now it's it's really interesting just because, you know, obviously he didn't get a chance to see the transition of people's like the cannabis economy of America, which, you know, there's like millions and millions and millions of square feet of canopy right now of plants being grown on a regular basis, which didn't exist 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So it's like that's just a huge volume of potential.
There are a lot of products that ag can't afford at a monster level that we can also. Like it's a much different market.
Well, the thing is that cannabis growers are always, you know, we're a little bit more like, you know, willing to spend extra money for that 1 or 2%. You know, because we see
they'll try stuff. They try new things.
Yeah, they will, and you know, when I go to a grocery store. Or to, you know, I'm always like, oh, what's, you know, like I'll of course want to try something new or look and see what's happening, you know, and it's like occasionally something pops up and it's really, really a good product. And then you're like, okay, this is something solid. And you can go into, like, I mean, Colin used to work in a grocery shop, so he had the same sort of experience as far as like you go in and you really know, like, okay, there's really like this, the rest of the shit's all bullshit. Or, you know what I mean? And a lot of times it's because there's a bunch of people who are trying to make money in the industry, and they did the exact opposite. If they would already have like Dr. Willard's this and Dr. Willard's that, and Dr. Willard this, Dr. Willard PH up, Dr. Willard PH, you know, like a bunch of bullshit that you don't really need. But the fact that you got this single product, I think, is super. It's actually the way to go in a sense, because it's much easier to promote a single product and prove it than it is to try to like have a whole line and actually there's one good thing out of your thing.
Well, also it makes sense.
Well, what
if you have a product
it'd be
that
interesting.
Is a one make all be all product,
well,
you shouldn't have 5 of them.
What I think you should do is you should
that'd be kind of odd if you came up with
talk to about 3 or 4 different nutrient lines, right? I mean, we have a couple that we work with, and the thing is, have them do side by sides with their particular product that they're already used to, and they know exactly what's going on, and then they can really see. You could, if you do test results with those people who are already doing like, you know, their own test results. I think we could get to.
I know plenty of people that would do tests.
You could really. Well, the thing is, it would be interesting because there's products like Budswell, which is a guys who have been around for a long time, and one of the brands that I work with, they use it specifically in their professional formula. Just even though it's just like an oldest product out of the fucking woods, you know what I mean? It's like literally 2 farmers who mix the shit with paddles and cover old swimming pools. You know what I mean? It's like it's some funky shit.
Worm castings. Is there anything better than worm castings in kelp?
Yeah,
as far as organically, like.
Well, that's, you know, and this some, you know, these guys just get some great guano and they fucking mix these things up, and then they're go snowboarding the rest of the year. You know? So like that's their business model. You know what I mean? It always has been. Paper labels, handwritten shit, you know what I mean? It's like it's very much like your grandfather's style, you know, just like not putting too much. But that product works awesome, and the fact that they're now being recognized by major, you know, by brands, I think that'd be a great way to like co-brand to your products, because it's just another, you know, it's an easy additive, and I think we could help you with that maybe. So I'll definitely.
If it works, hell yeah.
I'll definitely try to link you up with a couple of the people that I know that are doing nutrient lines and see if we can get them to you know, advocate it and put it towards their get people to use your product. Because, like I said, I had guys raging about it, and that was the kind of what I need. The guy had been growing 12 years in the same room, and he knew his numbers so well. And he said that he normally gets like 12 pounds. He gets 13.5 pounds, 14 pounds, but way better, you know what I mean? And like that was a huge thing, and he's like holy shit. And,
so he noticed an increase in quality.
Yeah, and that's somebody who's like real anal.
Well, here's the thing: an increase in quality will often lead to increase in yields.
Yeah, and it wasn't
like because
it was just
if you have an increase in health of the plant,
it was just an overall.
That's just across the board.
And I think that's a huge thing. The overall health is way nicer to.
Like kelp does all that. Kelp will increase everything because it can make the plant healthier, which then in turn makes everything else healthier, so it increases everything. Yeah, like I said, I'm willing to try.
Increasing everything. That's the goal.
I like miracles. I'm willing. Like I said, my miracle's 3%, 4%. Like if I just noticed any different, I'm like, cool. That's awesome. So.
Well, I was telling.
Also, I'm just curious to
guys
see
in
what the
in
difference
Miami
would be.
This morning, I said,
The morphology
look,
in particular.
It's not miraculous. I always say, at the time, think about it. When people first started using fertilizer, they thought, wow, it was miraculous. And I tend to think that's the same concept here. Is that we're doing something a little bit differently. It's just helping the plants better utilize that fertilizer, and it's not anything really all that crazy. It's it's not new to us, but it is new to you, and
So,
that's what I always tell them.
A general theory is it the fact that we have a lot of wasted fertilizer because people don't understand it properly, or it doesn't uptake as well, or is it the fact that it literally needs less fertilizer, like it's all used in both methods, but it's utilized more efficiently? So
I think it's both, actually. I do. I think it's both, especially when you start looking in the soil. I mean, one of the
uptake
things
and delivery is a big part of it. Not just the efficiency of what's already there.
Yeah, we see a lot bigger root growth out of germination as well, and I'm sure that's got to be a big part of what we're seeing. Although, we've had people do testing. Like we had a guy in Mozambique who didn't start spraying it on his tomatoes until week 4. And he damn near doubled the amount of yield. Now, he wasn't using any fertilizer, but that was week 4 he started spraying it on there.
Well, it's hard to
wow,
it's hard to correlate any of that. Like I had one guy tell me about a PK booster that tripled his yields, and he forgot to tell me he wasn't using any fertilizer also.
True.
But like I said, I have to put it to cannabis. I don't doubt that if it increases the health of the plant, it could definitely help. I'm just curious to see in what way it helps. Does it affect the morphology? Are the nodes longer? Are they shorter?
See there, mister.
Is it fatter? Is it denser? Is it just shinier?
Well, it's usually...
It'll be great. I mean, it'll be great for you to see it. I'm interested as well because obviously, I know Chris up at British Columbia is shitty, but I know up in
30 years ago. I said 30 years ago. It was 88. We're talking. This is to 95.
But I know some guys in Denver who are using it as well. There's the high-tech garden supply guys in Denver. They're doing some really interesting stuff too. I have to say, if you're really curious about it, I mean, these guys they play around with it a lot. And we've got one guy there named William who's using it to kind of blow out his plants. He's blowing out the fertilizer, and
what kind of fertilizer does he use? What kind of fertilizer?
I don't know.
That's really important because you have very different feeding programs. You have some people that are mineral, you have some people that are organic, you have some people that are in different substrates. So you would think that you're going to have different effects on different applications. It can be pretty dramatic.
Yeah, and I don't know all the
details. Get dramatic.
I know. He's calling me and he says, hey, this is what I've started playing around with it. He said, I found that it can absorb more fertilizer. And
how can you tell that?
1,800 ppm at the budding stage.
So wait, time out. So it can handle more or it can absorb more?
It can absorb more, and he doesn't see any burning.
So he's measuring the ppm and then doing the feeding, and then he's measuring the ppm after?
Yes. And
okay.
I'd recommend giving him a call at High Tech Garden Supply in Commerce City. Like I said, those guys are all doing a lot of research. And I wouldn't call it like peer-reviewed research, but they do a lot of.
We don't have that. We have. I took my best shot, and as far as I know, I think this is good.
I know. We know.
We accept that.
I know HDG.
We just need peer review is not a thing. We just want to know that you tried hard and you did your best to do it well. You're and what are you? Anecdotal evidence is really all we have in reality on almost everything. Obviously, there's certain things with the basics, the macronutrients. Once you get past that, and a few of the micronutrients, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence, and that's acceptable if it's presented presented well. Like I said, I only need ballparky numbers. You know what I mean? Just as long as I know that whoever did the test was hey, as far as we know, we did this right. This was a baseline. You don't have a lot of hard numbers in our industry.
As we like to say, proof is in the pudding, right? That's how it
I
always
love
comes.
I love pudding.
I know William has been doing it he's been using it for about 3 years now. I mean, they carry it, and he's been playing around with it for about 3 years. And I think he knows a hell of a lot more about it, honestly, than I even do when it comes to cannabis.
Okay,
sure,
cool.
Just because he's got so much personal experience.
Sure, yeah, cool.
Yeah, no, I think it's one of those things where a little faith goes a long way too with this stuff too. Because if you come in with like, you know, there's another product called photosynthesis from a microbe company called Microbe.
I know photosynthesis plus,
and it's like it's way more. It's way obviously it's microbial based, so it's not going to be the same as your product at all. But but it is like miracle shit that nobody knows how it works. You know what I mean? When it comes to like you spray it on the plants or you give it to them at the root zone, and then within like an hour your shit's like standing up like whoa, like praying to you, you know? And so you're like, holy.
I think some people know how it works.
And
you know, like,
and it's one of those things where you're like you might come back an hour later and go like, it literally made me call the guy up and go like, what the fuck, man?
First time I ever added microbes, like before I knew what microbes were, I was like, here, microbes. I'm like, small stuff? And they're like, try it. And they're like, I think it was like an hour, like my plants turgid right up. I was like, I was onto something. I don't even know. It was like 10 years ago, probably.
Right. No, microbes are overlooked part of the whole treatment.
I think now they're really.
Oh, now they're hot.
Yeah,
it's a hot thing.
It wasn't even a thing for a long time, and then I remember, like, thinking it was gimmicky the first time I heard about it.
So is there anybody else?
Is there?
I mean, obviously, there's nobody else in the market with your particular product, but is there other plant catalysts that are like calling themselves plant catalysts that are side by side on the shelf or anything that you know of? Because I haven't really heard.
No, nothing. Nope, nothing like that. You know, we own the name, of course, but the name actually is even relatively new. I mean, I came up with the name. Well, actually, our guy in Canada came up with the name, and but I just started slapping it on like 2 or 3 years ago. So, and of course, Dr. Willard's. There's nothing else like that either. So, no, if you're buying it, it's our stuff. Honestly, I'm not aware of anyone who's selling anything.
No, I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering if there's another. If there was another product that was like similar as far as like the idea, like using it to, you know, help facilitate, because there are naturally, obviously, like we were talking about kelp and things like that. There are other products that are like, you know, cover a lot of the same interesting elements, but in such a simple form, and the stability is what gets me, because that's like when you were saying 10 years. I mean, I literally I've known people who have had, you know, 5-year-old bottles and still, you know, and I was like,
it's that 1/1000th, bro.
It's hard to it's just hard to like
that's why it's not organic.
Imagine that it works, you know. And then but still to this, you know, if you're saying that at 10 years and they were still seeing activity, that's pretty awesome.
And that was my grandpa. So,
yeah.
You could once again argue that, but he was a scientist. He was just testing it. So
science isn't real. Earth is flat.
That's right. No such thing as climate change. Science isn't real.
Yeah. Warm isn't even a thing. It's all in our imagination.
So how many stores you guys distributing to now? Do you know?
I have no idea. No. Basically, the way it works.
He's really on those metrics. I believe him even more because he doesn't.
Do a great job with his company. But typically, the way it works with us is we sell to distributors, and they're like warehouse people.
Got it.
And then those warehouse people then sell to everyone else. And so actually, I honestly just started this week looking at like Amazon, because I was like, holy crap, there are like 100 people on Amazon alone selling our products.
Right. Well, I mean,
people getting their hustle on.
Hopefully, it's more of those people are doing it for the right reasons, and they're doing it because they're using it, and they're like, you know, realize like this is some. Cause that's the thing is, a lot of these products, you know,
I'm looking at it right now. They have really good ratings. They're just making a small profit being distributors. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're just being little mini distributors.
Right.
They got a bunch of products, but they're all like a lot of these guys like really good ratings.
So I mean, the idea, it's good if it's people that are, you know, getting involved just because they know the product works, and they got their buddies that are growing or whatever, and keep moving some stuff around. I mean, like like I was talking about Hydrozyme earlier. That's like one of those products which you don't really need it, but it really was nice, and it was very stable, which is weird because most enzymes are really lame and they don't have a very long
it was
shelf life.
oddly open it 2 years later and it's the same.
It was it would get a little bit darker sometimes.
Get a little tinge to it,
but it would still work. And it was like, wow, okay,
that really was.
And so that stability is like one of the keys in the.
I still don't actually know what's in it.
No, and then again, it's the fucking same deal where you're like, I don't know what's in it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it works. And everybody starts using it, and you're like, once in a while you don't have it, and you're like, oh.
When everything was $4,800 a pound,
but it got really, really expensive. What's the MSRP on what's the MSRP on Dr. Willard's right now? I don't know if we asked already, but
Hydrozyme doesn't work that good.
What was the MSRP right now for like a
$45 a quart.
A quart?
How long? What's the? You said 2 ounces per gallon.
Yeah, 2 ounces, not per gallon, no, 2 ounces per res.
Yeah, per res.
And
What does that mean
so
per
even
res?
if your
Like
res is 50, even if your res is 50 or 100 gallons, it's
But what if it's
You know,
my
it's still
res?
2 ounces.
My res is 850 gallons.
Really? So it doesn't matter between
No, wait.
50 or 100?
No,
It's
I'm
pretty
serious though, but it is. So it's 850
yeah.
gallons.
We have people who put a lot in there. My grandfather said that.
But I'm saying, what's the scale? How's
he
that
said
scale?
if you really think about it, logically, he said water doesn't have any walls, so it's somehow altering that water, and it will filter all the way down through the tank. And so he said that. Yeah, we have people that put it in like a pond. I mean, it's that much. I mean, I think if I had 850
technically,
gallons,
if I got like
put a full gallon in there.
you literally the dilution rate. So okay, so I got flags all over the place right now. So why do I need 2 ounces? What if I want to make a gallon? Can I put a quarter ounce in?
What's that?
If there's no walls and whatnot, why can't I just put like a teaspoon into a gallon? Why do I need 2 ounces?
Well, there's a minimum amount that needs to have an impact.
Like it works. They work like there's like synergy. Like they work off each other in the water, kind of thing.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat
Like
that?
it works off. Like it works off itself in the water. Like there's some sort of synergy kind of thing. Like.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't really know. We still don't know why it works or how it works. We still don't know that, but we do know.
But you know,
like I
application
said,
rates.
we used two different res amounts. Actually, 3 different res amounts. Well, Dr. Reese did in that greenhouse study. He used 27-gallon reses and 50-gallon reses, and then he did an ebb and flow that was 100 gallons, and it was just 2 ounces every time, and it made no difference in the effectiveness. So I
Did
can
you realize it's odd that you don't have a baseline, but like I'm surprised you don't have a baseline where you have a prorated amount along with 2 ounces. Like it doesn't make sense.
Well, I really should actually. If I were smarter at business, I would.
But you said your doctor did the test though, so that they would have had to have done that. So they would have had your baseline, your 2 ounces, and
Dr.
then
Reese did that, and he used,
so they would have done a larger
3 different
prorated amount
sizes.
on the larger amount. They're not going to just come up with
2 ounces
arbitrary.
and 27 gallons.
But how did they come up?
2 ounces.
So you're saying they
he just
arbitrarily
used 2 ounces every time. He just used 2 ounces because that's what I told him to use.
But why,
2 ounces per reservoir.
So your doctors
and that's
took
what he
it on
did.
faith that just 2 ounces per res, no matter what the size of the res is, literally.
That's what my grandfather said.
But
it's definitely strange.
But you said there were
Yeah.
tests done, and if someone was testing this, and you're talking about this 40% yield and stuff like that, you don't have a baseline.
Yeah.
You have to have a baseline.
Yeah, that was the baseline. It was 2 ounces no matter the size of the res. That was the baseline. 2 ounces no matter the size of the res. So he had 3 different types of reservoir operations, 3 different operations. He used.
So you got the exact
one
same
of them had
40%
27
increase.
gallons, one of them had 50 gallons, and one of them had 100 gallons.
But I understand what you're
And
saying.
so you put 2 ounces regardless of the size of the reservoir.
Right. So it just doesn't make sense because on a smaller reservoir, whether you aerate it more, like you should be able to use less than 2 ounces. This is an impossible thing that you would need some sort of fixed amount of a solid within a liquid. Like you can't have a fixed amount of dissolved solids unless some sort of magnetic magic going on in there. You should be able to use less for a smaller amount, and you should need more for the same effectiveness.
There's definitely magic going on.
I'm not saying there's not a wider range of usage, but like if I'm using 1,000-gallon res and you're using a 30, I want to like up it a couple times to see, does this help more? Does this help? It can't be. You're not activating water on that level.
Let's imagine it's something like how, for instance, like let's change subjects, but let's compare it to DMT, right? Well, DMT, if you have a tiny amount, you can barely notice the effects if you do a bigger amount, just because it's so effective right off the bat with such a small amount. You know what I mean? So it could be just one of those things. And the thing that's crazy about DMT is like if you take a test at your fingertips, take a hit of it, it's at your fingertips within a microsecond because it goes through every cell in your body, like scans.
Yeah, and there's very significant differences in the effects at every single dosage. That's the worst analogy you could have come up with.
If you inject it, yes, but if you smoke it, there's a certain point where
there's one hit, you're like, oh, I'm seeing stuff. 2 hits, like, I'll be back in 45 minutes.
Yeah, but at a certain point, if you take a big enough
totally different. That's very
but at the same time, it's already at the fingertips within milliseconds. I'm saying it's going through
When I said you something, you can try it out.
Big.
Like I said, what I know for sure, and that's what I was saying, is I know my grandfather always said it, and I know for sure it worked at 27 gallons. I know for sure it worked at 50 gallons. And I know for sure it worked at 100 gallons.
So
I know for sure it worked at 5 gallons.
So I would be safe doing 20 ounces in 1,000. Right. It's
What's
not
that?
like so. It'd be safe doing 20 ounces in a 1,000-gallon reservoir without
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you wanted to, absolutely.
like I'm not. I just like I might try literally like maybe one with 20 and one with 2. Literally just see if to see feel like I could see a difference. But it just seems to me especially with these large reservoirs that if I'm going to do it, I would like to have the full effect of it. And I don't know what the point of diminishing return is, but there has to be some point of diminishing return between 30 gallons and 1,000 gallons. So
Yeah.
One would think, but we
or-
haven't. We didn't see it. We didn't see it in the. Like I said, this is what I know for sure.
Or it just
I know
activates
those
something.
No,
three
I
amounts for
appreciate-
sure
no, I
because
appreciate
Dr. Reed
that.
studied it.
I appreciate now like making something up and
No, I think
But,
I think it just to me it sounds more like it clicks a switch. You know what I mean? And if it does that, who knows? Maybe it does.
what switch? Tell me
Yeah.
tell me which switch you're talking about.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe maybe it just has a way of.
It could polarize the water.
Yeah.
It could create a current. It could activate the water, but there would still be amount of relative dosage relative to the amount of water. Once again, there's no walls. And I'm not saying there's not a
I
wide
don't.
variety.
Like I said, I don't know the science behind it. All I know is that's what my grandfather said, and that's what we. What
And I
they,
also get. I'm
proved
not
in
saying
the
it's not
SASU,
working.
And
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't work. I just want to like try to maximize it.
No.
It's.
no, I think that's cool. I mean, like I said, it's probably not good business for me to say, hey, put 2 ounces into a 1,000-gallon tank. It's not good business for us. And
If it gets
I
the
mean,
literal
if it's-
same result, there's like half of it's horrible business because like you're losing business, but half of it's amazing business because you're like, wow, how could I not get that at that value? Everyone who runs a large reservoir would have to get it. So
yeah, I'm
if
not.
you could show that it's
I'm not
effective,
gonna
like at
retire
that
in
level.
Bahamas at 2 ounces for 1,000 gallons. I'll tell you that. But
Okay. Now is this like a heavy pour 2 a.m. ounce, or are we talking like Chili's where like they got the line on it? And, like
I use tablespoons, so I just use 4 tablespoons.
okay, cool, right on. Well, I am interested in using it, and I do believe that it works. I'm just genuinely curious at the parameters of how it works.
Yeah, it's definitely.
that's cool.
It's definitely an interesting product for sure, and I don't remember what the dosage. What does the dosage say on the bottle? Then it just says 2 ounces.
Just
says 2
2
ounces.
ounces.
Hold on tight.
Yeah. So maybe it was just because your grandfather was so bad
DMT.
at making labels. He just didn't give you. He didn't give you
ketamine,
the,
like
the
whether
full-
you take 10 milligrams or 100 milligrams, it's like the same. No, it's not.
No. So
Well, hey guys, I've got to get rolling because I've got to take my dad out to dinner tonight. And
Okay.
my dad is 78 years old, and if I'm 5 minutes past 6, he's going to kill me.
got
Well,
you
tell him happy birthday for us.
for sure.
We'll do that.
And we
And
will.
I do want to try your product, and I will be honest and fair with it. And like I said, for me, if I see any results, I'm excited. So
Please do. Send me an email where you want me to send the product, and I'll
I will.
send you product. And
I will,
I'll
cool.
work with you on setting it up and how to use it in your operation. And
Perfect.
yeah, I want to hear what you have to say. I mean,
sure.
it's always. I would also think that if there's bad stuff that I need to know about, I need to know about it.
I doubt it's
Because
bad.
I know
I'm just curious to see. I'll try it
Well,
out.
no,
and,
less good stuff. Less
Sure,
good
yeah.
stuff. But that helps me figure out where I'm spending
Well, like
my
I
money,
said, I'm
too.
never
So it's
looking
good
for
stuff.
miracles. You know what I mean? I'm looking for just any noticeable difference. You know what I mean? And that to me is a big deal. So
It'll be good stuff.
Cool.
You'll like it.
Cool. Awesome.
Looking forward to it. Say congratulations from us, and yeah, we'll keep an eye out for and anybody out there who's listening to the show. Keep an eye out for Willard. What's your website? What's your official website? And your
The best one for people to go to is plantcatalyst, all one word, .com. It's got all the studies on it. If they want to read about the studies that we talked about on this, they want to read about the background. They can actually read the study that was published, and you can go in there and Dr. Reese explains how he collected the data and whatnot. So if they want some information, that's the best place to get it. Plantcatalyst.com.
okay, cool. And that's where they can order it also, direct from.
Excuse me?
They can order it from there too.
Yes.
Cool. Sounds good. All right, man. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Nice talking to you.
You guys have a great night. Thank you.
Okay, man.
Too.
Peace. Thanks.
You took it on the thing. That's good. I just had a lot of questions because like I feel like there's results.
Mr. Questions.
Yeah, but you know what? That's I actually had so many questions because I actually believe it. I believe in that there's results. So it's like I'm genuinely trying like versus I'm not trying to like
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to pick him apart like you're wrong. I'm trying to like well, how's this fucking thing work? And the thing is like I said I don't need 47% increase in peppers, but like if it let's say increases 2-3%, and increases quality a tiny bit, which there are things out there that could do that. That'd be a big deal.
Yeah, and
know?
and the cool part is, I mean, anything that makes your plants healthier, that's
Right.
It's helping the
Yes,
whole
yes.
the whole effect.
If you notice them noticeably healthier, you know for sure everything across the board is going to be better.
Yeah, and
So, yeah.
there's times when there's times when your plants are just not feeling it, and then it's crazy.
Sometimes the plant
And you
not
can throw
just
anything
good.
at it, and it might not work.
Yes.
I mean, and there's no way that this is going to be like a silver bullet. We understand that,
Could just be a good tool
but it's
to have in the in the toolbox.
for sure. And then on top of that, I think just the fact that it's we're talking like a quart in 100 gallons, so it's like pretty much or we're talking how many ounces they said, like
2 ounces in anything.
Yeah, well, no, but generally, even if you wanted to go top dose,
I'm gonna fuck around with different doses. I'm not gonna go crazy, but I'm definitely gonna like try a couple different, yeah.
Yeah, and again, if you can do some scientific side by sides for him with some actual, give him some
I
data.
could do a quasi scientific side by side
Yeah,
to where I'll top feed it an
would be
appropriate
your-
amount next to a plant that's very very similar, and I'll try to keep them as similar as possible, and just have that one
that'll
differential.
be your payback for being a douchebag.
And,
So that's cool.
No,
That's good.
I was
It's
vetting
fine.
him, but like
It's
he came up, he had good
fine.
answers for
Fine.
things, and he didn't make anything up, and he didn't like
No.
deflect anything. Like that's why I believed him. Like
Right. No, he was on point.
reps and people who sell stuff.
Yeah.
Like they deflect or like they'll make shit up, and like if he didn't have it, he's like, no, we just don't have that answer.
Right.
Like he only gave facts that were vetted, and I appreciate that. And you're not supposed to make the other shit up. But like I was most curious because I really believe like there's results. The question is like, how good is it? And I'm excited to try it out. Fuck it. Anything that someone that I trust.
You just
who-
want free shit,
I
basically.
do love free shit. I love.
You're here
I
to like
love free shit.
embezzle stuff from the show.
I'm getting another
basically.
house
Jump
just
over
for
and
the
take
free
all
shit.
my
Just
take
for
my
the-
guests and fucking
so
ring them
many
out.
five gals. So many
Man.
five gals.
All right,
But-
so now
I'm curious to use it though.
this guy who thinks it's his show over here is called Colin Gordon
Uh-huh.
from Ethos Genetics. You forgot. Hey, get off my cord, mister.
Dude, they listen
You
to
know,
you all the
sitting-
fucking time.
I
They're
know.
tired of your ass.
Nah,
You're on the show like constantly.
You're sitting. Come on, get it.
I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah,
What the hell's happening?
I don't know. I'm just like, you gotta get those around your feet.
That's not even me.
That's me.
That's just the thing.
Yeah, but you're stepping on my feet.
No.
Stepping on my cord over here. So,
I'm not.
did you get some? What you got? Questions there? What was those questions?
You got a short cord.
Well, I don't.
I don't like
I don't bump up on-
participate
No,
or
no.
say words.
No, he might have to. He might have to. He has to bring some
I'm
questions.
very
That's
high.
ATI candy.
So,
Yeah.
so you've been busy. You've been a busy boy over at Ethos. I noticed,
Yeah, we have actually.
which is
It's been really fun.
it's been a
It's
year
been really
with,
fun.
with some hits. He had some hits. The banana hammock was probably a big hit. Right?
Mandarin cookies really took off this year. Kind of was a thing. Cut Above dispensary was hammering it out, and they had just people coming in there, and they won some local awards and stuff that were pretty cool. But like our social media helped us tremendously. Like we've never really spent any money on advertising or anything, but also like you have to get seeds out there, and then like it takes like about a year, and then all of a sudden like you know what, they're pretty good.
Right.
And then so you have some people follow other people, and you have this wave. So like you release a strain, and like it goes good, and 4 or 5 months later it picks up a little bit, but then like 8, 10, 12 months later, that's really where the wave comes, where you have people who are actually buying the weed from someone or smoking the product or seeing a friend growing it and getting a clone, and that's where the waves take off. And
Yeah, that was the problem back in the day, which was like everything was weird because like say early '90s, mid '90s, people would come over for the cup, they'd buy your seeds, and you wouldn't see them for a year, and then after a year,
now
you'd
you got
be like,
Instagram, you're tagged 27 seconds later.
Right,
Look
yeah.
at what I just bought. Like, dude, my hand's in the picture.
Exactly, you haven't even got
You already
your hand
tagged
out.
it.
And
I
so,
love that though. I'm cool with it. I followed 4,700 people.
And so the whole thing that was like,
Fuck it.
you got these like reports back occasionally, and it was really like sparse. You'd sell, hundreds of packs, and you get one guy who would come back and tell you a fucking story, because the rest of them would be like, I kind of didn't start them yet, or whatever. It's like, oh my god, come on, guys.
Sure.
But there would always be like, one guy would come back, give you a report, and I mean that's kind of what almost all the companies thrived on, because the testing locally was skewed and difficult, and most people just went for still grew for commercial purposes. What's your
Well, it's so different now because like what a lot, not just social media, but the expansion of the laws to where timing wise, we ended up like a lot on the East Coast and a lot of metric systems. So it's like, it's not something that could have happened before. We were like, oh, in Maine, we're huge in their metric system because one person happened to buy a bunch of packs like 2 years ago and get them on there. And like, so there's some random cool things. You're like, what? Like we're like in Florida, we're in 3 of the 5 grows.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's the crazy part now.
So
is
like you can become like a much bigger brand much more quickly. You know,
Mm-hmm.
with Instagram, like if you see someone on Instagram for every day for 6 months, that's forever.
right.
It used to take 15, 20 years to like build a reputation. You know, but
I mean, well, you're as we talked about earlier, you're going to see these. I mean, some of them are strictly hype, so there's not much behind it. You know, we have to still deliver. That's the key to the whole thing. So I mean, that's been what you guys have put out a lot
that's the other thing. It gets called out quickly though. Hype now doesn't last very long.
Right.
Because like it only takes like 6 months before the hype is over because people are like, fuck that shit.
Right.
You know,
Well, I
it
mean,
passes along very quickly.
I mean,
very quickly.
I think I've noticed, and that's the thing about the whole social media world is like, you know, we know each other, we see each other around. There's so many breeders out there that are, you know, who knows where they're fucking at. They're just like a breeder with a name on Instagram. And
The distributors don't know where they are.
well, the reality is that
their moms don't know where they are.
Instagram is not a business model. It's actually just a.
Sure about that?
Well, it is. It's where people are making lots of money. But I'm saying, legally, it's not illegally.
Tell Kim Kardashian it's not.
Legally, it's not. But a lot of seed companies only exist on there. You know, what I mean, there's no.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah, there's no
yes,
actual.
you should have something to back it up. Don't trust. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
On its own, it's not a business model. I understand.
To
Yeah.
believe that because you have an Instagram account.
But once again, Kim Kardashian did.
But there are plenty of people that's
She's
kind of
on
where.
ass.
Yeah, there's plenty of people that's their literal structure of their whole thing because there's no filed paperwork. There's no, you know,
Sure. No.
business model of any sort.
No, I get.
Besides hype.
There's
hype,
definitely
hype.
like a new thing, a new hustle on Instagram.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
people buy like we had a lot of people that hit us up like, can we get a discount by 5 packs? We're gonna sell them. Like, that's not a distributor.
Yeah, right.
Like you don't buy 5. That's not how it works. I'm like, wait, are you hustling packs? And they're like, yeah, like it's legal kind of, and it's better than weed. I'm like, sweet.
Yeah. Well,
But no, I'm not gonna sell you 5 packs at some. But like, so that's like I think like a pack hustle is a thing on Instagram, but also like people just random pollen chucking, making a pack, printing thing.
Well, the problem now is that
It's definitely a thing.
a lot of people are doing the idea of like, okay, I can hit every single seed bank up, and one of them's going to give me a free pack of seeds of some sort. You know what I mean? They'll hit you up with, you know, either stories of buying them or this and didn't get them or whatever bullshit. And I'm sure you've gone through this now. The stories, exactly.
The fake vets is the one that's like, I get all these fake. I'm a vet. Blah 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 blah. Blah, help me out. And like, I look into it, and I'm like, oh, and you're like, this motherfucker. And then you'll see people like, oh, this guy's a fake, and this that. I'm like, you know what?
Right.
You know, and I like giving free stuff away. I can genuinely enjoy it.
Well, you know, the thing is,
I
always back in the day, I was always kind of like, same thing. Like I always say, if you come to me, I will give them to you. I'm not gonna fucking.
Oh, dude, I'm not fucking Santa Claus. If you let.
I'm not gonna. But I'm not gonna send them to you because that's when you know you're getting close.
I don't even write to my mom. Like I don't mail stuff. I tell people like I'm not good at that.
Right.
You know, people like you sell seeds. I'm like, not me. I've never done. I just don't even mail stuff in general.
Yeah.
But exactly the same kind of thing. But it's there's a lot of people that ask. There's a scammy type thing. I got to a point on my Instagram where I can't actually answer messages from people I don't know. It's like I get over 100 a day, and 95 of them are asking for something for free. Mm-hmm. It's just sucks.
Yeah. Well, it's
or a spam or something.
It's a lot of people fishing, you know.
It's navigating all part of it. The bottom line is I'm happy with it because I'm able to expand my brand, but also what I get to do is a lot of my pictures are all these other people who I don't even know growing my stuff, and I'm sharing their pictures. So it's like it's not just showing what I do with the gear; it's showing this is just what regular people do in closets or in Kansas or in this or in commercial grows. And so I think it's kind of cool. Like that is something Instagram gets to do is they very quickly some strain came out in December at the Emerald Cup, and people are already, showing all their different pictures of it now on Instagram. And it's like, dude, that just came out. like 3 days ago. You're like, oh no, December, but like, oh yeah, it's harvested. All right. So you can catch on quicker. You can vet it. So I don't know. I think there's upsides and downsides.
Yeah.
It's just, there's upsides. It's a tool, But I enjoy it just because it brings a lot of dialogue. We have a lot of. I like bringing up, subversive stuff to get people thinking about the construct.
So who runs all your Instagram stuff? Is it just you?
I'm the only one who's ever made a social media post.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It's a one-man show. It's
one man. Yeah,
you don't have a small. You need to have that millennial.
7,000, 7,800 whatever posts, whatever. I made every single one of my posts, and I handwrite everything, and nothing's cut and paste. Because sometimes I just put very little. I'll just put a picture, boom, there you go. Sometimes every 10 pictures or so, it's really something I want to talk about. So I do like bringing up subjects. Sometimes it's basic. Sometimes it's just bringing up stuff that's a little controversial, whatever. But the whole point of that is just to get people actually talking about it, because I looked into it. There's a lot of presumed science, I guess you could call it, in cannabis. People are like, this is science cannabis. I'm like, no, it's not. And they get all mad. I'm like, find a book where it says that. I like.
I saw that. I saw that.
I like people get go Google stuff. That's all. I want you to just Google something.
I saw that, and
my contention that I just intensely did it to trigger people. I was like, I have an impregnable contention that breeding with feminized seeds is better than breeding with males. I did that just to get people to go, huh. I don't know if that's true. I have a little bit of evidence that think it may be true short term, for sure.
Yeah.
Long term, I have no idea.
Yeah,
but my whole point was, let's argue about it. Let's talk about it.
You got the
because
argument,
what I did was
going.
I actually talked to a plant physiologist and I talked to a plant geneticist, and they told me there's literally no science at all that says that male-female breeding is better.
Right.
There's nothing to support that at all. There's nothing to counter that female breeding.
I was going to say the other way around, though. There's nothing.
There's literally nothing done, period.
Yeah. So.
But what there is there's a lot of stuff on S1ing that, if you don't understand the exact context, it does sound like feminizing can make plants weaker. But they were just S1ing plants over and over and over and over, and they showed that it became weak.
Yeah.
Versus I'm talking about crossing two different females and a hybrid, and then finding that money pheno, and then finding the parallel sister to her, and breeding those two like an F2 instead, or it's an R2 because it's reversed. But instead of guessing it even at all, all right, this is the one, perfect. You go through 100 of them, you're like, this one's almost exactly the same. You cross those two,
right.
and now you've almost homogenized a strain in one crossing. And now I can pick all my favorite phenos, and we're doing all these R2s, and I'm going to release all my favorite phenos of all my strains in a homogenized form. And people are like, oh, you're bottlenecking the strains and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I could still cross other stuff. I'm also... To say that homogenizing and stabilizing a strain is bad is insane. You're like, oh, an F5, no, you can do it that way. But no, we don't want you to stabilize the strain through feminized seed. What are you talking about? People like, oh, Shanti Baba back in the day, that was great. He was awesome. But I do it through feminized, and I'm a fucking demon.
Right. No, but if your goal is to do what you said there and to
stabilization and homogenization, period, of specific phenotypes or specific varieties that happen to be fantastic. I'm not talking about S1ing them. I'm talking about doing the F1, F2, F3 process, except using reversed.
Yes.
And also, we're vetting the females. We're stress testing them and making sure they're good before using them and stuff like that. We're not just breeding with them right away.
Right.
We're choosing ones we
Well,
love.
it depends. I mean, if you're talking about something that's like a clone only that you're trying to save, then you're obviously not working outside of the genetic gene pool of that plant. So you're going to increase stability and homogenization like you're looking for.
Like inline or back crossing, or what do you mean?
The way you're talking about it, I think that makes sense, but at the same time,
well, everything's the same as the F1, F2, F3.
I think everybody took it more as you're saying that's superior breeding. You know what I mean? Which is not.
This is what people did.
Yeah.
They took it as something as an affront to them because this was my point. There's no science. Everyone's like, if you're going to go against science, this is my entire point, and this was not a hypothesis. I have no evidence. That's what a hypothesis is. I'm not presenting something. I asked for a contention, which is literally an argument. By definition, I'm asking you to argue with me. And what I'm saying is, I can't.
You're not argumentative, are you? Come
you know what?
on.
I'll take
This guy.
yes or no, depending on which side you want to.
Oh, I knew.
See, I'll take either side.
I knew
I'll
you're
take
gonna
either
argue.
side.
You're gonna like jump into the
I
argument.
will. Let's
like,
pick a subject. I'll pick a side. I don't care. We'll switch.
Yes.
But my point was, when I got to the actual biologists, the PhDs on there, we got down to some real good shit. So if you got into that 500 people trolling, but there's some really fucking good information, and we found out there's literally nothing published in the history of cannabis on male-female breeding versus female breeding. There's nothing published in plant history on male-female breeding versus female-female breeding in any plants. Period. Everyone's like, what about bananas? And what about this? No, these are all S1 cases. There's no actual stabilization, creating new, constantly bringing in new genetics. We're not talking about S1s. We're talking about backcrossing, inline breeding, just using females, using vigor to induce this pollen. It's a sex expression. It has nothing to do with hermaphrodite. It has to do with ethylene and gibberellic acid. That's all it is. It's just a ratio. So there's no reason not to breed. The F2 is the most difficult one in the entire process when using males for me. Because usually when I use a male in the F1, I already know it's a badass male. So boom, I do my male. Now I get this whole F2. I often will use multiple males that I think are going to be amazing.
Right. Well, you have a better chance if you
Right.
cover all bases
Right.
like that.
Most likely you choose the terpiest 4 or 5, and one of those is going to be just the best ever. And you're going to it's going to come up. Okay. But I'm saying is find the best one, period, and no guess. Find the other one that's just like it. That's it. And it's done. And in less than a year, you've homogenized a strain. And I've made this massive yielding. So I did basically, without getting into too much detail, cookie chem OG cross. And I got a cookie pheno, chem pheno, OG pheno. The OG pheno and one of them was massive, like very chemi, big and blah, 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 whatever you want to call it. Where it would take me a long time to BX this properly to get that size and get all that quality back. Well, guess what? I have one in the room that's almost identical. You know, because if you put hundreds of them, you're going to find them. Even if you do outliers, you do hundreds of females, you're going to find the exact copy. And then, boom, there you go. As long as they're not too extreme outliers, they're almost homogenized on the F2. And here's the thing, like, oh, what? It's prone to hermine. No, that's every single plant is based on the genetics, and its stress tests is whether it's prone to hermine or not. It's genetic. So once you make that plant, you test that plant, whether it's made from male, female, or femme. And you take that plant on its own merit.
Right.
And is this plant a breeder? And you stress it. Well, I'll spray it with colloidal silver one time to see if any nanners come out. We go 2-3 weeks long to see if any nanners come out, things like that. Once we've qualified the plant, I don't care where it came from. So what I do is I find these identical plants, I qualify them, and if they work, actually right now with Crescendo, I have 6 of the same one. I'm going to go all through them, and I'm going to choose at the end. And then the 2 that are best vetted, the most stable, the most consistent, I'm going to breed those 2 to make my R2. And, it just makes sense. And everyone who argued with me argued based on nostalgia and emotion. And everyone's like, you think you're better than me. I'm like, dude, I don't think you're better than you. I didn't invent making feminized seeds. I'm not saying it's not the process. I'm saying, genetically speaking, just based on the fact that it's easier to see all the expressions of a female than it is a male. And the most important one, which is intersex expression, is the easiest to identify in a female. That's the hardest one to know in a male. You can pull a lot. You can terps, you can predict on the male, how it stacks, the height, the vigor, the morphology, the rooting. There's a lot of things. But you can't get that subtle nuance when you do 100 seeds that makes that 1 or 2, oh my God, those 2 are so special.
Yeah.
You can't pick that out in that male.
I mean, it's more like with males. Yeah, they come.
I
They come
get
around.
it.
They
It's
come around.
quote unquote an art.
Yeah.
We're talking about nostalgia. It doesn't even make sense, and I promise you, there's nothing anywhere in plant breeding that says there's anything different in DNA in the male and female except for a Y chromosome, which is produced 3 days after the seed comes up. That's it. That's why there's no studies, because it's not a real science. Only cannabis people think it is. There's no plant scientists, physiologists, plant geneticists who think this is even a discussion. Only cannabis people because of nostalgia.
Well,
you're like, I'm upsetting the system. No, asshole. Sorry.
I think it's also because
it's not a real system.
It's also because
it's perception of a fake.
I think everybody who likes to grow cannabis and is all about stability, right? We just don't
I
want to
get
have
it.
shit that
First of all,
fucking throws
like,
hands.
time out. Stability genetically means homogenization. It has nothing to do with intersex traits. So let's just throw that out there because I'm a nitpick on that. So we're looking for consistency. Yes, we're looking for non-intersex traits. We're all looking for that for sure. I've been doing for 25 years with male females. It's not like I haven't done it. I appreciate the art. I have some good males. I've made some really good male female strains. It takes me years. I've made 30 strains that test over 30% that are massive yielders this year because I tested them all as females because we go through thousands of seeds and find the prize cuts and combine prize cuts and hybridize them. That just makes more sense than trying to, vet a male with all these different ways, hoping, run 2,000 of these seeds, bring me back the best 3. You run these 2,000, bring back, you know what I mean? And let's cross those. And guess what? And you know what also breeds true? THC. You can't test that as well. You could see what's tricky, but you give me 30% strains and we cross them. You know what the amalgam THC on those when you grow them is? It's about 30%. It breeds pure. You can predict the cannabinoids.
Right.
So when you have 2 females, you have all the expressions, all the cannabinoids. You put them in different rooms, have a couple different growers grow them, go 1, 2, 3 weeks long, go one. You know what I mean? So you can really pull out all that expression. The other thing is that you can see everything that's recessive in that plant by S1ing it and running it, and you see every recessive trait in that plant.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think a lot of growers are, like you said, nostalgic about.
I get it.
Female breeding in general, and I mean, also we don't want to go down the rabbit hole. Everybody, like, it's great when certain people. And if you're doing,
I'll go down the hole for you. It's all right.
Yeah, it's fine. But at the same time, I mean, obviously not everybody will fall in line and be like, all right, well, that's it. We don't need.
Oh no! I promise
males
you
anymore, because-
that like 99% of people within 5 or 6 years, when actual science is done, because it hasn't. There's been no reason to do the science, right? I'm not saying I'm gonna do it. Unequivocally, it's already shown that the DNA is identical. And although through epigenetics you can fuck up the DNA by reversing it improperly, all this is based on all of the genetics that are used is written in Soma's book. Soma, he said he used colloidal silver, he used gibberellic acid, and he wasn't able to get pollen properly. So he and all of his people would find plants that at day 60 put off pollen because that was perfect. It didn't put it off till then. Well, that's a genetic trait. So the entire Dutch system and the chem system is all based on all of these plants that they specifically chose for herming. And that's why all those plants hermy, or they call it hermy, it's not, it's an intersex trait. So the entire process was built on these plants that they chose ones for intersex traits because they didn't understand how to get the pollen properly otherwise. So what I do is I take a plant that in 5 years has never shown a nanner ever. Even that one time I forgot to harvest it and it went 3 weeks long. I guarantee if I reverse that, it's solid as fuck. Period.
There's a question from the chat room for Colin.
Yeah.
They want you to elaborate on the XY chromosome in the seed at 3 days.
Okay, so we've been testing seeds to see a lot of our theories up until recently because of Phylos were that you could actually stress a plant into becoming a male or into becoming a hermy, which we haven't proven yes or no whether becoming a hermy. That could still be a thing. But as soon as the seed pops up, you can start taking swabs of those leaves. It takes about 3 to 5 days after it sprouts out, and that plant will produce a Y chromosome or it won't. Period.
And I think that's also where there's.
By the way, with stress can still fuck it up and make it an actual hermaphrodite. It can produce an X and Y through stress. So it's not like it's guaranteed, but you are guaranteed if it's a Y, it's a male.
Yeah,
if you have an X, it's not like you're guaranteed a pure female.
I think right at that moment in time, too, is where like temperature is really important. There's certain things that really can affect at that point, and that's where
in the first 4 or 5 days, I 100%. I've actually thought it used to be 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
because that's kind of like it was a lot of discussions we had.
Right.
But in fact, I think now based on this, it's the first 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. So
also, even possibly from the moment it germinates.
Yeah.
All the way until it actually produces that chromosome where first the leaves come out.
Yeah, and that's
So
where
we'll call it 7 or 8 days from actual like putting it in the maybe in the water or the thing, you know.
too cold means more males. You know, there's like certain things that
I haven't done enough testing either way to know.
That I've seen for sure.
I don't know.
Too cold, more males, and also overcrowding too can be at that same situation.
I've heard that from
if
several people that
so I
seem like
think-
they know what they're talking about.
So if you put a bunch in a pot
Yeah,
together because you think
sure.
that's going to help out, you end
Yeah.
up getting more males than if you just like set them in their own pot.
I just put like a ton of ridiculous amount of seeds, like
Uh-huh.
all the way. Like I started with a few in a pot, all the way up to a bunch just to see, just
Mm-hmm.
fucking around. I got like 40 different banana hammocks, all femmed, coming out of one pot. Just 40 colas, all stripped up all the way, just to see what happens. I still don't know what's gonna happen, but we'll see if any intersex traits or something pops up because it is definitely like a little crowded.
a little overcrowded, but
I found that the best number for the big pot was 6.
Mm-hmm.
I think 20, 30 was too high.
30 was that sounds
6 seeds in a 15-gallon pot. Worked out amazingly. Don't top any of them. Kind of strip them down, give them like a month and a half, and they get huge, and then flip, and it looks like just one big huge plant. And then like you can cull one if you don't like it. You know what I mean?
Well, then you
And,
rebury. You have to like squeeze them all together and bury them and make it look like one plant.
Oh no, yeah. You start them in a
one plant.
yeah. You just start them in a small pot, and then you like so we start them in a square pot and put them in there for I don't know like 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and then put them in a 15.
Right.
So it looks like they're out, you know, growing outward. So like it actually, I'll actually have been taking pictures and documenting it. So,
Yeah.
But they come out like this. So like, and then so also, you know, seeds go floppity. So we'll give them like 8 inches, and we keep putting more cocoa.
Yeah.
So it really looks like they're just coming from one place and coming out.
There you go.
One plant.
Secrets.
Yeah. Don't come to me.
Those kind of things usually. I mean, the problem is when you do multiple plants.
By the way, I'm just messing around. I don't know if this is a good thing or not.
Yeah,
I don't condone this.
I've always seen.
Come back to me in 10 weeks.
I've always seen where like the one turns into the beast and then the rest get all kind of beat. Like, it's all-
I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Occasionally
I feel like that's so some strains, especially if they have height issues and some root faster, not a good idea. Once again, I'm not condoning this. I did go with strains though I thought that were like didn't have a lot of height differential. So like, but I have had a lot of seeds like I had to cull or like pull out and put in pots and stuff. Like I'm learning. Like I definitely know that not any of these is the way to go, but like I'm learning that some of this works pretty well. You know what I mean? Like none of them will be perfect, but like I said, it's fun, it's interesting, and then I have a lot of seeds. So
Sure.
honestly, almost everything I learned was either a mistake I made or someone I know made, and we had to figure out what happened, or fucking around, and then figure out what happened after. That's almost everything I've learned. Like really, and then like you do your research, but like the research is all based on all that fucking around, and you're like, you know what? That thing keeps happening. Let's figure out what that is. Honestly, like like. People ask what's the best place to learn. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of great sources. I tell people dive in. You have to start growing, start encountering all that stuff. You know.
It all starts with the seed, doesn't it? Now.
I think that or
Or
micro propagation maybe, but I really love the way seeds grow. I love seeds. I'm like a seed addict. I'm one of those people that like I turned my addiction into my profession. Like I because I couldn't stop buying seeds for 25 years. I ended up having a really good seed collection. But like I made seeds because I wanted more seeds and couldn't afford to buy more seeds. Next thing I know,
Yeah. There you go. You became an addict, and now you're.
and now my collection is, dude, I'm jealous of myself. I want to go back to like 5 years ago, but dude, look at this. I'm like, you suck. But it is fun. It's like I like to trade with other breeders, and sometimes like someone like I don't even know, like I know their gear. They'll come over and give me some little special pack. It's fun.
Welcome to the Adam Dunn Show. Who we got?
Hey, this is Hashcroft.
How's it going, Hashcroft?
Oh, good. I'm just listening to the controversy between Mel Pond and.
There is no controversy. yeah, there's totally a controversy.
Yeah.
big
And
time,
did
big
you
time, big
follow the thread online, or you just heard the one today?
Today on
Okay.
YouTube.
Okay, cool. So, what's your take on it?
Are you guys still talking about that, or is it
Sure,
is there
yeah.
lag?
Open forum.
Open.
Bring it on. It's something that I enjoy
Okay.
talking about, and it's something that, like I said, it's a contention of mine where it's like I have not proven this. I believe it to be true short term. I have no idea if it works long term, but I am welcome to questions, and like because that's actually where I'm getting a lot of information. Is like people coming up with good questions. So, what do you want to know?
Oh, cool. Yeah. I just wanted to like put what I found out with with it.
And this is all I have are my
I-
observations, by the way. So I don't have some sort of hard evidence. So your observations obviously different. So I'll take all the anecdotal evidence I can get. So what have you seen?
Nice. Yeah. So like, I grew with my uncle a couple of years ago, and we grew up in Rulson in the mountains.
Okay.
And he was he's like an old school grower. You know, he didn't.
What does it mean? Soil in the dirt kind of thing?
Yeah, soil in the dirt. Yeah,
or in the ground.
much.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and
big plants, like 1 pounder, 5 pounder.
Oh yeah, like 8-pound plants.
Okay, big as fuck. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and they're pretty nice, and like
growing 8-pound plant, it's already nice.
Yeah, some of them he pollinated himself, and he used like not mature male plants, and then some of them like were seeds that I've gotten from bag seeds.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
You know, like they propagated themselves and whatnot.
Yeah.
And like, between my friends and I, we found out so far, like, with the Hermie plants that got pollinated from a Hermie or
plant. Let's say a female. Okay, so let's define what a Hermie is, and this is not all to berate you. I'm just gonna clarify. So hermaphrodite is a plant that has both the X and Y chromosome, and is pretty much consistently throwing out both pistils and male flowers the whole way.
Yeah.
Versus there's females that throw intersex traits, which there's females that throw pollen sacs here and there. So now sometimes it's hard to tell outdoors because it's a little etchy, but typically you have females that are throwing pollen sacs, but there are actual hermaphrodites though too. So I was just trying. I just want to clarify that a little bit.
So like true Hermes.
Yeah. So sorry. Go on.
Yeah. So like so from the Hermie plants that have the traits of the male and female, we found out from growing those seeds, you still get the Hermie. You could get a bunch of seeds in it. Right. And sometimes we would get 1 or 2 females that would have maybe 5 seeds and buds here and there.
Right.
And from that plant, smoking those plants, we would get like a faint flavor. You get a nice flavor, but it's nothing powerful. Lip smacking, mouth watering. It's like very faint, and it's like we just pretty much called it like a Hermie flavor. What's not there,
That's a Hermie flavor. That's a Hermie flavor.
That's so midsy. That's the new mids. Yeah. What's it like? It's a little Hermie flavor.
A little Hermie.
It's a Hermie flavor. Yeah, pretty much.
Obviously, but genetically, you have this predisposition, and it keeps passing along. Which is why often bag seeds have that same kind of thing. Day 18, they put out a little pollen sac on that lateral branch on the bottom. And they're like, oh, I didn't know why that happened. Yeah. That's how the first seed got there.
Yeah, exactly. And then from the ones that I've found bag seeds that repropagate themselves,
what do you mean?
I would get...
Oh, like you mean like a random single seed?
Yeah, a random single seed or, the Chem Dog story,
Sure, exactly.
Yeah, and from those seeds, I would get the full flavor, the potency.
Exactly. The full profile of the female plant. So those are actual real hermaphrodites you were talking about, earlier. Yeah, those are actual hermaphrodites, not just sexual expression. When you love the D, sometimes you got to make some sacrifices. Yeah. And that could be a seed here and there.
Yeah, it's kind of scary when you say you love the D like that.
I did it on purpose.
When you do that, I get kind of nervous.
I did it to make you nervous or excited, whichever. Nervous, excited, same thing. It's all brain chemistry.
Definitely got me nervous. So you're sort of reinforcing his idea that the femmed version had a bit more of a flavor profile like the original female.
Yeah, kind of, but also, the feminized seeds you buy online, I would still also get that faint flavor.
That's that, and once again, I'll go back to what SoHi published. SoHi published to use these plants that gave this. And it gave a huge uprise to all these plants that were then used for another 10 or 15 years that carried this gene. So the entire feminized line out of Europe is purely predicated upon these plants that have intersex traits and possibly are actual hermaphrodites. But it was from the original selection that they did from the beginning. Having said that, ChemDog, every once in a while you're going to get a little nanner. It'll happen.
ChemDog,
that's also genetic.
True ChemDog, you'll get sometimes a fucking branch. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, you'll have a whole branch that's
About
male,
1 out of 10.
and you're like, what the fuck is this?
About
like,
1 out of 10 ChemDog crosses is
so
fucked up.
Yeah, so there's definitely some inherent hermaphroditism in that line.
I'm trying to actually remove that. I'm doing an experiment by back crossing with a bunch of old skunks, and then seeing if that somehow if I can. Here's the thing: I've been able to cross it with the skunk and make it and get rid of the nanner stuff, but it lost a little. It's not quite chem now, so I got to back cross it again. But I'm trying to get like that chem, that stabler chem. I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm working on it.
Nice.
It's fun, but yeah, I think anecdotal evidence is all we have, and unfortunately, there's not a lot of good discourse on social media. We have it a little bit on my Instagram page. We get a little ornery sometimes, but we do try to answer questions. But we gotta share each other's stories and stuff like that, and that's where a lot of these conclusions come from. Not a lot of lab evidence to choose from.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to do, is just put my observations out there.
Everything I came to, I remember I think first time I talked about it was a couple years ago on Adam's show. Was observations that I had made. None of them were things that I had done. They were observations that I had made in other grows. Only one of the grows that was actually one that I was even working in. And I was saw the same thing. It was this weird thing I saw. So a lot of it's just anecdotal, and these things come from from strange places. But like I said, my contention is one of those things that I believe that stable breeds stable, in the sense that intersex traits, and a little bit hairy breeds a little hairy. Regardless of where that plant came from. Once you have a plant, and you know whether that plant's strong or not strong, blah blah blah, then it's going to breed how it is, regardless if it came from a female or a male.
Exactly.
As far as the breeding. So particularly, we're talking about hybridizing and filial breeding, not S1s. So,
Yeah, I got it.
And at least short term, I'm noticing that my R2s versus an F2 are so much better. And just straight consistent as F, bro. Just yep, that's all the same. So I know at least works. Now, 3 years from now, I may have some story where I'm like, so remember how I was telling you, blah, blah, blah. Well, now the whole line collapsed because I fucking learned that I needed the Y chromosome. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't tested it. But for now, I feel very strongly about typically whatever I'm talking about. But for now, I feel very strongly about this because I'm seeing about 2 years of results. Right. And I'm seeing other people and they're having results that are same. And like I said, it's just so easy to predict where I could just take two a high-yielding cup winner and a high-yielding cup winner, and they're both stable, and we're going to breed them. Guess what you get? Really good fucking strain every time. And I'll come with a cool name, name it after dessert, boom, you win. Yeah? We're running out of desserts, people. We're running out of desserts.
I know.
We're going to have to go brand names, like Snackers. But Snickers, it's not satisfying.
Yeah, it's
making me hungry.
I know. Fuck, I literally thought I can go for a fucking piece of candy.
Well, thanks for calling in. Lost you at the end there.
He's in the mountains.
Oh, he's in the mountains.
Okay, nice talking to you. Oh, yeah. We're going to go now, but thanks for contributing.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to out there. And, thank you, Adam, for what you're doing. I just got into your show, but, it's hard that a lot. All the strings and the history of it. But, thank you so much, guys.
All right, peace, man.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take it easy.
Straight from space.
Yeah, that wasn't just me. Like, dude, this fucking weed is
God,
shit.
Crazy. So there you go. You had one call in for Colin. There you go. We fucking
It's my fucking show.
It's my shit.
I hijacked that shit, yo.
Yeah, I saw you. I see you trying.
I
already had a couple calls. I had a couple.
I feel like you're like, dude, you can just have it for a while.
Yeah.
I don't feel like a lot of pushback if I really would try and be like that.
There's no point. There's no point of me pushing back right now. So I'll let you do your thing.
I only come by every few months.
I know that's for obvious
I don't
reasons.
get out
For obvious reasons. Hey,
They let me out.
Yeah. Well,
I did good.
Well, one of the main reasons I wanted to get you on the show is for the obvious that we're going to be hosting your event,
Yeah,
your soiree. We can talk
tasting
about
party.
that. Let's talk about the soiree and what that's all about, because I know now there's going to be way too many people because everyone's going to see the show and go, oh my god!
Well, the only people that are locked in are the ones that already sent me an email.
Yes.
It's a dated thing, and then of course you'll have like a plus 10, and you'll have a plus 1, maybe if it's a mid, I'll give you a plus half.
Plus a half.
You can't come.
So
you need that plus on
That's
Mark.
it. No, but like, so here's what we're doing.
plus
So
half.
I backed into this. It's not like I came up with an idea for a party because I don't party. I don't even go out. But so we were doing a pheno hunt, and I was looking for crescendo. I was looking for a few different phenotypes of crescendo, and I hadn't actually grown weed in a while. I was pollinating everything, and if people don't know much about the Colorado weed industry, sucks as far as selling it. So like, I don't even know anyone who sells weed anymore. It's fucking weird. I'm like, really? I don't know any weed salesmen. So I decided I'm just gonna give it away. So what I need input. So it's like a lot of different strains I'm trying to pick to see what I'm gonna put in the cannabis cup. And weed's not really worth anything anymore here. So I'm gonna have like a tasting party. So I'm gonna have a bunch of different strains and a bunch of different like feedback if you want. You don't have to give it. I'll have little cards if it's optional. And like if you really like something. If you hate it, we give feedback, and like every 15 minutes we're gonna have like little grams of this. And also like it's a BYO glass, we'll have papers and blunt wraps and a bunch of nice Afghan Kush and some OGs out for rolling and stuff like that. It's
an old-fashioned pre-cannabis cup party.
It's just a nice gathering.
What do people like?
It's chill. Feel free to bring your own beverages. We'll be supplying some basics, and there'll be plenty for you if you don't bring anything. But little potluck, never hurt anyone. Bring a snack. Bring a nice sixer. But no, like it's look, honestly, once I thought about it, I was like, this was a no-brainer because like there's just no good cannabis just get-togethers. Like unfortunately, Colorado is just not a good place that allows that. And I was like, that sucks. You just can't go hang out and smoke and just talk.
Yeah, I think it's. I think hopefully that's all gonna change.
I genuinely really hope that. And I don't even like going out. I don't like people.
Yeah.
And especially. But no, like I really think it's a thing because like it already kind of makes like when you smoke, it makes you kind of reclusive. Mm-hmm. You want to be around like-minded people, but like you'll go out to socialize in a cannabis club, but otherwise you're like, I'm not going out.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's
a different vibe.
It gets more and more difficult, that's for sure. Like the somehow, just like on the show.
I know a lot of people
on the
that
couch. We didn't even want to get off the couch for the show, but in general, no.
I love couches.
I know.
Couches.
Couches make the world go around, bro.
Flat couch. All right. I lost my train of thought because of the weeds again.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's a good sign. That's a good sign. So that's what the whole show is going to be about. The show is going to be pretty much about people coming in,
kicking it, smoking weeds,
kicking it with some weed. See, now you remember. Now
and getting feedback. And look, honestly, it's just have fun. We'll try to get everyone in and whatnot, and maybe like stagger it a little bit. Maybe have a few people come a couple hours later, a couple hours earlier. But it's just to have a little gathering and just like-minded people and not be in some loud fucking drinking bar where everything's gay and stupid.
Hey now, did you say gay?
Well, gay bars are the only bars I go to because they're not gay.
Obviously, yeah.
It
all depends.
Look, I literally in that essence,
I can't believe you said gay.
Okay, I can't go to a straight bar because everyone acts gay.
Oh.
In the old, what I mean? They act like douchebags.
Yeah.
I can't handle the douchebagginess.
Douchebaggery?
Like any sort of like downtown type bar.
Yeah, when it's
I can't handle it.
Too crowded, too stupid. Yeah.
I can't, but I really do go to gay bars. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
It really is.
I
easier vibe.
don't judge, bro. I don't judge. You're good.
I'm not saying I'm going to pick up. Not
You
that
like-
that's anything wrong with that.
you like the
But
you like the manly
got
you like the
converted.
manly vibes there.
I got converted by a
Maybe
an
it's all that
employee.
feminized seeds you make or something. It just fucks you up, dude.
You're not
Man.
very feminine.
Yeah, see, so that just
Mostly masculine women.
twisted your
It's
whole.
mostly masculine women who
it's
can beat
twisted
me in
your
arm
whole.
wrestling.
Twisted your psyche there, bro.
No, actually a friend of mine from a few years ago, she started taking me to gay bars with her because that was her jam and her friends. And I was like, wow, this is so much better.
Yeah, they were
It's
just
such a different
higher
vibe.
quality.
Better music,
Yeah.
better conversation. And there's something about like young men under 25 that are drunk that just suck intrinsically, including me, whoever it was. Like, it's like, when you eliminate that, you're like, huh, you know what?
Right.
Bars aren't that bad.
There you go. Tip of the day from Ethos Genetics. Gay bars rock.
I've actually been nice since like 93. Yeah, it's true. I stand by it.
Yeah.
I will meet you at Blushing Bride, and we will fucking hang out.
Right. Well, no, I have noticed that going out is a chore, and that's why I've always
It is, man.
I've always had my own spots because I always thought it was way easier when it's your own spot and you could just like grab a drink when you need it, you know. But soon come. So we're
It'd
looking
be
at
nice to
that's
have
going to
a
be
little get-together.
a
14th.
Saturday, the 14th, and you need to contact you direct.
You already had to have contacted
You
me. There's
already
no
would have
more,
had to have contacted. There's no more tickets, and forget about it. So why are we even talking about this bullshit? No, it's cool.
Because
It's
I haven't
cool.
told the people yet
Rub it in their
what the fuck's
faces.
going on.
We're gonna rub it in your face.
So those who already do know,
But
or
at the same time, if you're a super duper
If you know someone
dedicated
who's got a
listener,
plus one.
you contacted us and said, Adam, please.
obviously,
Get on my endless list that I have. So.
Adam has his own short list. He got it, you know.
Use promo code
3.
ADS420.
You get 3. But yeah, we could actually do a giveaway. If you want to do a couple.
Yeah, sure.
We could do a
How
couple
do we do
couple
it?
passes
How do we do
plus
it?
a plus one.
How do we do it? What do we do?
Well,
this
which
is the
part?
hardest part. You have to come up with some crazy
What, the contest?
contest idea. Yeah. Argue with you for like 10 minutes.
I wouldn't.
Whoever argues with Colin for the longest.
You can pick the subject and the side.
Yeah, any subject.
Yeah, I don't even care what side it is. It's like whatever. I'll take it.
Flat Earth.
I don't believe in anything.
Okay,
I
how about-
really don't. Like, I'm not a nihilist. I'm just a natural skeptic who's super curious. I think it's this. I don't think it's that. Like, that's basically me. Like, all the time. Like, I think this is this.
Yeah.
It can't be it.
I believe so. Come up if you can. Usually it's like an animal sound or something stupid like that. But that's
I say,
what's that?
we have someone do an impression.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're like
The best impression, we got 5 people call in, do a Christopher Walken.
they're all so bad. Usually that's the problem. So.
Okay, so.
But it's good. We can do that. We can do that. Let's see. Let's somebody.
You have to do an Asian woman doing Christopher Walken.
Okay.
Step it up.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't think I could do Christopher Walken?
Yeah.
All right, I'm just saying.
So what? You're gonna challenge? Is it a challenge? Is it a challenge?
I'm just saying, step your game up.
That would be 720-310-8237 if you want to challenge Colin Gordon to a Chinese woman.
I will also do, if you have
playing
this,
Christopher
I will do an impression off. You pick it, an accent or an impression, and whoever does it better, if you beat me, then you get it. You call in with any impression that you already do, and any accent you already do, and if I don't do it better than you, you get the ticket. How about that?
That sounds
Boom.
like a plan right there.
Put me on the spot. Now I'm scared. Oh no, it's gonna get weird.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a challenge to all.
Challenge.
Challenge.
It's
Challenge.
French. Challenge.
Challenge.
So yeah, be like, yeah, and then we'll email him something and give him like a +1.
All right, and that's for a +1.
Yeah, we'll
for
do,
a
For the
entry
event.
to the event +1.
all
and
the free weeds you can smokes.
Well, everyone gets that. That's basically like saying whatever.
I'm reiterating.
That's like saying you get to get a buffet, and that means you can eat anything you
you
want.
can eat buffet and the food.
Yeah. So.
But you can't take it with you.
All right. Well,
you said that.
any challengers on
anyone
with
like everyone's like a little.
Oh yeah, the
nervous.
kid. The kid. Where's the kid? He's not listening to the show. The kid could beat you up. The kid could crush you,
Bring
bro.
Bring it.
Kid.
Everyone has a go-to impression. What's your go? Someone.
I don't have one. I don't really have one.
You're Adam.
Yeah, I just do me. So
you're Adam.
I can
few
do.
people can
Over
just
the
be
years,
that.
I can do certain things at certain times, but I never like thought of it. Like, oh, I got to keep on doing
Dude,
that.
I can do almost any impression and almost any accent. I've never tried to practice. I literally hear something and I
Yeah.
automatically like mistakenly mimic to where I'll get in trouble.
Right, because you're going to
You're like,
Chinese.
you making
the guy
fun of
goes
me?
to
I'm like,
yeah. You go,
Not on purpose. I mean, I would be behind your back if I thought of it, but like I actually was doing
now that we're
backwards.
also PC and everything, it's like when you go to Chinese food, I was like, I think every time I ever came, I always
Also, you get a
start-
pack of seeds if you want to try it.
Yeah, okay. Pack of seeds is now we've upped the ante. Anybody who wants
Bunch of poussoirs, man.
yes,
Open challenge.
Shalom.
I might not even be good at this. Dude, I'm saying you do your whatever your wheelhouse impression is. I don't care who it is. Bring it.
Yeah.
I'm doubt, nigga.
Oh. Now you've got a two. You've gotten two.
All in these are quotes. When saying impressions in quotes, it's different.
Yeah.
Besides, I wasn't referring to a person.
No. It's true.
That's Dave Chappelle.
No.
He actually, really did change that word a little bit. Where I actually consciously, for the first time in my life, found myself using it, other than singing alone in my car when you know what I mean, like the NW day, like that. But then you just keep it to yourself.
NWA, let's get the letters right.
Yeah, any acronym will do. But like other than that, like I was never comfortable, and I think it was Chappelle. It was just because of the humor somehow, like put it in that It was so much quoting of it. But then I had to catch myself. I'm like, and he actually said something. He's like, I'm a little offended by it. Like I was like, I didn't give permission for everyone to use the word. I was like, oh, I'm a dick. It was weird. He's like, especially around my kids. People like will say something like, I'm Rick James, bitch. I'm with my children. Like it's like this time, turn it off. You're like, oh shit, yeah. But anyway, no.
So
nobody?
the challenge
Really?
is the challenge
What
is
do you got?
not
Just-
affected anything.
That is weak sauce.
Yeah.
No brave souls.
Nobody. Not the kid.
No-
I'm surprised
no-
the kid. The kid. We should,
one- you
why
got-
don't you dial the kid and get him on the
no one
phone
with any
and
talent?
say,
You know any
kid,
talent?
take him out.
Who's the kid?
The kid who used to be at the show, Ryan. Come on,
Which Ryan?
Ryan. The kid.
Dude, I have like
Yeah.
75 Ryans on my phone. I
I
don't know any of them.
know. I know. It's crazy. Ryan is one of the.
Hey, I
most
know a lot of
over-
Adams too. Like
Yeah. Well,
you're the only one that just says Adam.
There you go.
But
Most of them are.
yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of Ryan's is crazy. I actually had the other day we walked into the place we're working in. Kid's named Ryan, and I'm telling him the story about how
Ryan.
everybody's named
Yeah, I
Ryan.
got it.
And then all of a sudden, as I get around the corner, the next kid, I'm like, "Wait, what's your name?" He's like, "Ryan." I'm like, "Oh my god, this is ridiculous." It's like, "Come on now."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, it's kind of funny. We're partners, and we're both named Ryan." And I'm like, "That's great." I looked at my phone and I showed him all the Ryans I had. It's Ryan.
I realized it because it was. I realized it was because the Facebook thing. I somehow was like looking at the list where you could see it from like a distance, and like you'd see like all the different names, like 40 Stephanies and like 32. Like, dude, I was like, that's a lot of Ryans. Like that was the one thing I noticed. I'm like, dude, like 85 Ryans and 37 Ryans with beards. That's my wheelhouse. You know what I mean?
At the gay bar.
That's-
This is at the gay bar, obviously. So we're back to the gay bar.
They shave.
37 Ryans with beards at the gay bar.
I'm not.
With
I'm
Ethos genetics.
I'm fully comfortable in all that. I'm fully comfortable.
It's
you know.
fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I did. Did I not offer you, out of context, totally to wear all pink, including a tutu, the other day? Mm-hmm. Okay, just out of context.
You did. You
Yeah.
did.
Volunteered that in just
Fully.
for no reason.
Yeah.
Really.
For no reason
No,
whatsoever.
it wasn't no reason, but I didn't really need to
telling
volunteer
you,
that.
I'm telling you, feminizing has
I support feminized seeds, and
has
I will
some
wear
strength.
pink, and I'll
Yeah.
wear a tutu.
tutus,
to
pink,
show
and
my
go to gay
support.
bars. And go to gay bars. So that's pretty much your.
I would do it.
Yeah.
Here's,
Obviously.
here's the thing.
Obviously.
I'm 44, and this is where the big difference is. 24-year-old Colin, my psyche wasn't as strong.
No.
There's a lot of things I'd be like, I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
Right.
Maybe this, but maybe not that. Now it's just like, yeah, that's funny. It's just a matter of I literally want to do it or not, like get out of the house that night. But like as far as like going over the top, like there's nothing that I don't really get embarrassed. Like it's just like it's like a, as you get older thing. Cause like I see things that are cool now, and I don't even know they're cool. Literally, like I'm like, what the hell is that? It's hilarious. Like that's cool. I'm like, really? I'm like, I literally know that was cool. Okay, I don't want to be that.
So
It's just getting an older thing. Yeah.
getting older,
Just not good.
challenging people. No one's coming back at you. I can't believe this challenge is
I thought it was a fun one, and I thought it was pretty creative. And I basically get a double win. I'm gonna get the pass. I'll keep it,
Yeah.
and I'm taking not him.
See, when we did the animal noises, they went for that. They could do that, but it was like, on the spot. Tough.
Everyone's got a De Niro or a Walken. All right, so anyone in the room? Who's got something?
Nobody.
How about this?
Talentless room of.
How about we we could do impressions of people in the industry, and I can do the entire thing as him, and I'll answer questions about photons, anything you want.
Oh yeah. Well,
Do you want to talk about lighting? Do you want to talk about photons?
that Theo.
The electric. See, the
Theo,
U-mole.
that was a
The
Theo.
mole.
That was your
So,
Theo.
no, humans. Lumens are for humans. Okay. The U-mole is different. It's what between 400 700, and the aluminium is what gives the better reflection.
I'm guessing Theo.
I did a whole Jair Gravita.
Oh, that was
I
Jair.
did.
Oh, that was
I
Jair.
did a
Yeah.
radio show with him next to me, and I did him, and he
Yeah.
just didn't say anything.
Just
I'm
like
not
me,
kidding.
Just like me.
And his
That's your thing.
He was just laughing the whole fucking time.
Right.
And like it's me and him,
Yeah.
and they're interviewing me as him, and he's just sitting there laughing.
That's about right.
It was a lot of fun. His wife was there too, so she'd even comment like a little bit once in a while. So it totally validated that I was him.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's pretty good. It's like a little higher octave, but it's pretty good. Annalise, it's his wife.
Annalise, yes.
We should talk about photons all the time. And aluminium. I love that word so much. I didn't realize how much we butchered our language until I heard aluminium. I'm like, what's that? Like aluminum. I'm like, ooh. That's like sexy aluminum though. I'll buy that.
What kind of lights you running? Jair wants to know right now. He just asked.
So I'm genuinely lucky, man. I'm sponsored by a lot of companies, but I run Gavita, Souls Tech, Black Dog, and Revolution. And oh shit, I have a whole grove built out by Sun System as well. And fuck, another one. Either way, I run everything that's free and good.
Free and good.
We have a nice 2-to-1 ceramic metal halide to HPS in our rooms, and then I have plasmas, I have LEDs, various different things. I have white LEDs for clones. I use colored LEDs for seedlings, keep them compact. Use various different things for different jobs. I use a lot of Solus Tech bulbs for my DEs. I like their bulbs a lot. I don't use metal halides in Gavitas though, because that takes the warranty away. You have to use the proper bulbs. Don't tell them at the shop. But yeah, honestly, man, I think there's a lot of great lights. DEs, ceramic metal halides. It's just about two for the job, what your end game is, and you do it properly, you're fine. You know what I mean? You're not going to go wrong if you get any sort of name brand, any one of those good lights. Just don't get something kitschy and new. Like, oh, it's the newest fucking cool thing. Don't get that. Get the best thing from last year. Just get whatever is just the best thing, not the coolest. But honestly, I think like there's probably 6 or 7 really good DEs. There's probably upwards of 10 different ceramic, bulbs out there that are solid, different fixtures.
What do you use for your seed reduction mostly?
So it depends on what my goal is. If I'm trying to get them bigger and taller quicker, either like T5s early and then like just metal halides or ceramic metal halides.
Yeah.
And then, but if I want to keep them compact for a while, like sometimes I'll do like 5 weeks in a small container just to get a ton of nodes, and then I'll put it in a big container and I'll flower quick. Mm-hmm. I'll put it under LEDs, like a mixed spectrum, and that keeps them super compact, and like it just allows me to use very little space and get a lot of growth in a very small area.
Canadian Indian is the request.
So we're talking a native from the currently living in the country of Canada, to clarify.
Do a Canadian Indian. Maybe it could be Indian.
Be fucking
no.
I mean, a Canadian Indian could be this kind of Indian, and you know what I mean, eh? So, like, to be more specific.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How's it going there? Is this
it's Mr. Cripple here. Just enjoying the show.
Nice. You're here to challenge Gordon?
Not really sure. I'm not really too good at, acting. I'm not really an actor, so.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I'm not an actor. I'm just high. So get higher and fucking compete.
Yeah.
What do we got? What do you got for us?
Oh, what I got for you?
Yeah, what you got?
What you got for him, man?
What you got for him?
Bring the questions or bring the pin.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to ask about, what variety Ethos cultivar is the most alpha fem? You know, you talk about alpha fem.
The most consistent? As
yeah,
far
the
as
one
like stable, homogenized, things like that?
The one that you would consider your favorite alpha fem.
Well,
Alpha.
okay, here's the thing. So I have a lot of, so it's about flavors a little bit. You know what I mean? So it's like I have a few, and I have some that are like, I'm just gonna go member berry.
Yeah, member berry. All right.
It's just it's 3.5 pounds light. Everything's 30%, and everything is terpene as fuck.
Oh yeah. I'm all about like
every
the flavor
single
that
seed
comes out on the smoke.
It is the most flavorful. It tests crazy high in live extraction. You have everything from sweet to true skunk to grapefruits in there. It's absolutely amazing. Extremely high yield, easy to grow, and you'll break. It's a crusher.
Yeah.
And I to this day I have not seen a single nanner, and I let some of them go. I actually re-veg one, so it probably went like 100 days, and I didn't see one.
Oh, that's legit.
Because it's got really good skunk, old school skunk in there, and like old school Afghan that was stabilized a long time ago before I used it. So it's that helped, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would go member berry.
That sounds pretty good. I remember that from like South Park, so that's pretty funny. And the photos of it, it definitely looks real nice for sure.
Dude, they're very colorful towards the end. Very vibrant purples, magentas, just pinks, just really beautiful weed. You know, if you're not an OG head, you know, one of those people, it's like OG's chem sours only. Which, by the way, I'm kind of that.
Yeah.
Then this is about as good as it can get. Like, I would never put it against a legit chem dog or a legit OG Kush because I wouldn't put anything against that. But like people who don't even know what that is would think this is the best weed they've ever smoked.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So, you know, I'm putting it in the cup at Santa Rosa in June. So I think it's good enough to enter, and I had a lot of weed to enter.
Oh yeah, well, best of luck with that for
Thank
sure.
You. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, the only accent I got going on was some like southern mumble, like a mumble hillbilly.
Yeah, but you were
type
born with
shit,
that.
you know
Yeah, well, you actually tried to shed that a little bit at West Virginia a couple of years ago, but you moved out to Bucket, Kentucky a couple of years ago. Where are you from?
Here, West Coast Oregon. Best place ever.
You're from the West Coast of Oregon?
Oh yeah.
Nice. I love it out there. Actually, I really do. I'd be out there. I think if it wasn't for a few other things that were anchoring me down here. It's nice. I would love to grow outside in Oregon. That's one of my dreams.
Yes.
It's one of my dreams, and find Bigfoot while I'm out there.
Yeah.
Less likely, but for some reason that's part of the fantasy. I don't know why. Can't detach it.
Yeah, definitely. It's always it's always hard to find varieties that finish before the October rains around here. That's for sure.
I suggest our Pillow Factory. It's got really good botrytis resistance, and it finishes 2 weeks early.
Well, that sounds promising.
It is. It's highly promising. I also gave it a stupid name on purpose just to reverse market it. And it worked great for a year and nobody bought it. But then people realized it threw down. Then people were like, dude, that throws down huge yields in 8 weeks. And people were like, huh. And I was just did it just to be funny. It took a full year before people started buying it.
I heard it was called Pillow Biter, but it was.
Oh, I tried, but then someone got all mad, and I was like, hey, I'm going to do it regardless of what you say.
Goes on.
Anyway,
he obviously goes on with your theme anyway.
He obviously won the argument. So. I'm not really a theme person. It's more flowy. Speaking of themes, but any other questions?
Not really. Just been enjoying the show. So
right on.
I figured I'd call. Never called before, and people weren't calling. I'm like, okay, he's just being way too funny right now. He's got to break it up a little bit.
Yeah, you don't want
to. He's being way too funny. I got to bring it up. Bring some salt to the situation.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can bring some real awkwardness.
Let's bring it right back. Right back to.
Yeah. That'd be an amazing goal, like Andy Kaufman style. I'm gonna try to bring 5 seconds of just awkward sounds to that fucking conversation right there. You're like, all right, good job.
Well, thanks for calling in for sure.
Yeah, love and peace.
Yeah, peace, man.
Work on an impression.
I will one day.
Enjoy it. I don't think he's gonna do it. I don't think he's gonna work on the impression.
No.
Oh,
You're supposed to hang up, and I'm supposed to talk about it.
I'm supposed to try, but man, it's just so nerve-wracking. It's so hard to make it say word.
No, I get it. No, words hard, head strong, brain bad. I get it. So sometimes, it doesn't all flow.
I wish, man. I wish I could, but.
Well, thanks for calling in. We had fun. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, bro. You have a good
Talk to you
one.
later.
Okay.
All right, peace.
Take it easy. That's funny.
There you go. Boom. That was a noise.
That's actually a line out of context. Out of context would be a great line. It's like, oh, I thought I'd call in. I saw you guys having a bunch of fun. I wanted to get like some sort of like, I couldn't allow that to continue. But I'd say he added to it. So good times.
No, it was
It was
fine.
Absolutely. No,
He got you to bring your member berries up.
Member?
Yeah. So
I remember.
See, he segued it perfectly for
Like,
you.
I want to talk about my berries.
You got to talk about you had to like not totally just ramble about all your strains, but at the same time bring them in slowly. So speaking of which, what's the thing everybody should be looking for right now? What's your favorite? Like, just besides member berry that told him that was a lie. What's your other favorite? What's your other favorite? No, tell him.
Really, like, it's a can't miss. It really is a banger. I've got a few of them like that. Mandarin cookies we're almost sold out of, which has been huge. If you asked me 3 months ago if we were going to sell it, I'd be like, never. And like we're almost sold out of that.
What's that one?
Mandarin cookies. It's our
a real
it's our it's a big fat, huge Mandarin flavored cookie.
Welcome to the I've Done
It's
show.
stable as fuck.
Hey, boo boo, this is Yogi.
Hey, yeah, how you doing?
How's it going, madam?
Hey, yeah, boo boo.
Hey.
I can't find Boo Boo. He took my stash.
Took my picnic basket. Hey.
Yeah, I only watched that show like twice. Mm-hmm. I feel like I need like line.
Yes.
Did he have any lines? What was his crony? It was Boo Boo, and what was his actual name?
Yogi.
Yogi.
What?
Yogi and Boo Boo, and it's like,
you know what wants to come out?
Hey, Yogi.
Like it.
And he's like, hey, Boo Boo.
Oh, dude.
See, now
that guy's gonna get some tickets. That's because it was. He did both. He did both.
This is 420 doing Yogi.
There you go. See?
C420, of course, he's gonna win the tickets, right?
Hey, and a pack. And a pack.
Good job.
And a pack of alpha.
Pack of alpha founds for you.
I'm all lit up.
Dude, that's what we appreciate.
I figured I'd call and fuck with you guys.
We were soliciting that very thing, so we appreciate you participating. Yeah, you want tickets, and you got a free pack coming to you too. So.
Oh, what's going on? What did I do?
Dude,
what happened?
You didn't know he was doing it in a contest? No. That's even better.
Yeah. So you got
we were doing an impression contest.
So now you got free tickets to his.
You had to do Yogi Bear, and you called in and did
his
oh, shut up!
Tasting. There you go. Free tickets to the tasting. That's on the 4th. That means you have to come early now. You got to get here like 6 days earlier than you thought. It's going to cost you a shitload more money. But you're going to be all. But it's all going to be.
Yogi ain't got much. Better blow what you got. I will be there on the 18th. That's the best I'll do. But
all right.
Well, I'll have one for you.
We'll save a little goodie bag for you. How's that?
For sure.
I'll make sure.
Excellent.
I'll tell him I need a special goodie bag for.
I'll call you guys. You can fucking FedEx it.
I don't know about that. Nope. I don't know about that.
Right,
Off the record, still nope.
All right, y'all be cool. I gotta get out.
All right, peace.
All right. That's funny.
Later on.
That's fucking funny. I actually got a couple cool things covered. So we're doing all the cups now as far as we got booths. And we have one in LA 420, San Bernardino, actually. I don't really call it the LA Cup because if you just said San Bernardino, people are like,
yeah.
But
San Bernardino.
we're doing like a secret drop. It's not a secret because I just said it, but we haven't told anyone what it is, and I haven't advertised it. But it's very limited, and it's like, god damn, got times, no shit. And then the other one is, are you fucking kidding? Times, get the fuck out of here. Both very limited. One's male, female, one's femme. Hand numbered by me. You have to see me in LA though to get them because we're not gonna sell
Let's
them
get the
online.
fuck out of here, times. Goddamn.
No, look. Here's the thing. I'm not saying what they are.
Oh, okay.
Here's
I was
the
just
thing.
double checking. I thought this was a
I'm
new
white
cross.
labeling
Uh-huh.
very nice cuts of extremely popular name strains.
I got you.
You're like, so it's just like those cuts you're trying to get
Yeah.
times that other fucking cut you're trying to fucking get.
All right. Okay.
You know.
So it's a Mac something cross, obviously, or something.
He's a detective.
He's like, don't fucking blow my shit, bro.
So I gotta say, I want to say thanks to our customers. Like we did our last drop in Zane and the Membrane, and I
Yeah.
put on it Nunya times business, and I put nothing about it except that it was tall as fucking sativa,
Yeah.
and it has a high variation rate, and we sold 2,000 packs in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I hadn't sold 2,000 packs of any particular strain ever up to that point. And just based on, we're down. We're in. I'm like,
Right.
Nunya times business. And I'm like, I put terps loud as fuck and THC shit tons. And everyone was like, I'm in. I'm like, really? And first of all, it's amazing fucking weed. But I also decided, and like I said, I put 6 seeds in, and it literally was the last second I was making them, I just filled every vial like full. So I put like 20 fucking seeds like in every one, just because like it's like a return. But like, I couldn't believe like I literally was every day I was like, how many? Like I don't get it. I'm like, I didn't say what it was, and like I was like, it's outselling everything I've ever done, everything I've ever crafted, everything I've ever worked on my entire life. And I did a little fucking social media like, bah! And it's like, boom! I'm like, oh man, at least I get good weed. But it was an interesting thing for me in marketing to see like how far marketing can get you. Also, a little trust in the company. I'm sure some of the return customers. But I was fucking amazed that that many people buy something that was unknown relative to like, you know, like I'm releasing releasing Chem 4 times TK like in like 3 months or so, which anyway like an amazing cut of Chem 4. And anyone knows with those strains, you know, you can have nice, chunky, big, fat OG. Like, it's amazing. That will never sell as fast as Nunya times business. Ever. And we all know, like, it's probably going to be better because those are two of the best cuts ever. You know what I mean? And I just did it just to see. It's kind of funny. So this drop, I'm not hyping at all. I'm not telling anyone what it is. And they only find out the fucking day it comes out. See how that works. I have no idea if that's going to do anything. Like, I have no idea if any of these things are going to work.
Right.
I just like to see what happens.
And when's that drop about?
420.
Of course.
Come see me in San Bernardino at the High Times Cup. A brand new,
that's why it's
huge
called
fucking
I
tent
forgot
booth.
that. I forgot that's what we're talking about. A brand new tent.
You get a new booth.
Is it a circus tent?
I do believe it's not. I do believe it's not. I did not micromanage this job. We have a design
tent?
company, but it's fucking badass. I'm actually really excited. Like we're like all adulting and shit. You know what I mean? It's nice. Yeah.
So you have a whole crew there waiting for you?
Dude, we were bringing 7 people. I have a road crew now. Like we're buying the Mercedes fucking Sprint so we can like actually take all the gear and shit. Like we're loading up, dude. Like we are going to a little carnival. I got a wheel like every half hour. I'm doing giveaway packs, giving away fucking free weed, everything, and like it just and then that's a raffle. But like there's a wheel everyone can spin. And you win something right then.
Raffle wheel.
No, I got a raffle, but no, I got a wheel. Everyone can come spin,
spin
and like
the wheel.
look, who doesn't like spinning a wheel?
Spin the fucking
I like
wheel.
spinning fucking wheels. All right.
know. I can.
And it's like the ding, 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 dude, right? So then I just put a bunch of shit on there, and you win stuff. Everybody gets to spin it. Mostly you're gonna enjoy.
In the wheel.
If you get lucky, you get something other
You're
than
gonna
enjoy.
wear like the cheesy suit and spin the wheel and gold bow ties and shit. Or
I haven't gone that far.
Whenever you have a wheel, you have to wear a bow tie. That's like part of.
I do know a sweet fucking store in San Francisco, like right by Haight Ashbury, that only has like things that like a Imaginarium, Parnarium person owner would like. What is that? Like, is that an all crushed red velvet suit with a purple lapel? You're like, it is. You're like, oh, and there's a different. You're like, there's. I know where.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Having said that,
I would say you should do that for sure.
Just a ding, 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 ding. So we won best booth.
So yeah, very low thing.
We won best booth at the cup. First booth I ever did. It was at the cup 3 years ago, and we won best booth at the one here in Denver. And the only reason we won is because I brought that fucking wheel. And I made you. You know, the only qualification is you had to vote for best booth before you spin the wheel.
Oh,
crushed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did the old.
My boot sucked.
the
That's
old-
all I did. I was just
Yeah.
like, I just want to win best boot, see what happens. And I was like,
Yeah,
dude, totally
it,
fucking.
It worked. Yeah.
Boop, we got second and third actually.
You're that guy. The guy.
Because they fucked up the thing. They added. No, but seriously, I just thought it was fucking funny. Everyone's sitting there like
Awesome.
we're helping them download their app, and they're like, vote. They're like, who do we vote for? We're like, anyone you want. It's America. Spin the fucking wheel. Like you know, we didn't actually even tell people because whatever. But yeah, we racked those votes. I just found out like I got like 4 cups in a row, and I didn't know it was something you voted for. And I didn't know there was an app on your phone. So I was like, I don't think anyone else knows either. So I'll just sit there with this wheel
Yeah.
and a line. And for 3 days, people just sat there, 2 days, because it's fucking voting shit out of spinning that fucking wheel. We were also giving away for free the stuff that was on the wheel.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, you could just take the stuff.
Yeah.
But they would rather spin the wheel and win the thing that was also on the counter just that they could take.
Oh, okay, I get you. Yeah.
Like, hey, I want a joint. You're like, you can have a joint.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I want a joint. Like, dude, you could have 3.
Yeah.
Hey. And you know what? I spun that thing like 6 times. I got
Right.
excited every time a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it was, I did.
I did. Like, it's fun. It's like a little fortune situation. He doesn't want to play.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to play. I get 128th and I had 25. Right off toward.
I made a wheel.
Party
out of
store.
I made a wheel out of the front of a bike for my original thing too. Track home
Ooh.
challenge. That was the old school Amsterdam. I made my shit all Amsterdam style, so it was kind of like steampunk a little bit.
I don't have that kind of style.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't have your
I was very
thing,
impressed.
whatever
too.
that is that you have.
Front of a bike, mounted on the wall. It was the front of a bike. I didn't have
That's-
a wheel. I didn't have a wheel. I had a bicycle wheel. I put that on the thing. It was perfect.
That's great Dutch.
Yeah, it was super Dutch. Yeah, I went ultra Dutch on that one. So all right, so you got wheel spinning going on.
Yeah, we got wheels. We got everything. We got.
Yeah.
If you're in downtown New York and you're looking for the baddest place on the go, okay, so yeah, we got our own new headband coming out on 420. We've got a strain I made. Basically, it's early glue. I back crossed grill glue with a Afghan Kush, and then back to a grill glue again. Took like 3 weeks off the outdoor flowering time. Indoor, it's similar, a little faster, a little more stacked, but outdoors, like really because it triggers
All right.
early. I think people had a market for that. I got Member OG, which is our member berry, times Temple Kush. Member? That's actually a male female. They're really fucking good. I literally tried to give them away. I'm not kidding. And then we saw pictures of them and we're like, is that ours? We're like, yeah. Like, those are the things we gave you? I'm like, yeah. We're like, we're selling them now. That's how freebies turn into fucking. Like, I was like, are you kidding? And then I ran some, and they were like unbelievable. I'm like, I guess there's something to this male female fucking breeding bullshit.
Right.
Just monster fucking, just delicious fucking fruity Kush buds. Purple as fuck. But you know, honestly, like working on a lot of stuff. I'm most excited for something that's not coming out for a while. It's an orgy of different old school skunks we've been collecting, and original chem dogs. And we're doing various different chems with skunks. And then those are just big, high yielding, just beautiful, beautiful plants. You know, I miss that Dutch, big, huge bud, just spongy, massive. And like working with these skunks and chems again, I'm like, hey, I'm a good grower again. You know, because it's like you can just run GH again and get these fucking things like this. So it's fun growing those things, you know. It's just weird because, like, you know, get these skunks that, as you know, they're testing 15, 16%. But there's so much flavor and cool, interesting characteristics that a lot of people nowadays haven't seen. More like the earthy stuff. But they're stable as shit. Like, they breed exactly what they are.
Right.
Like, it's something that doesn't exist much. So, like, when you breed with these, like, old skunks, like, everything comes out like, holy shit, there's 2 phenos?
Yeah.
And not much variation in them. Versus I do some chem cookie thing and like everyone looks different.
Right. Yeah, of course. And there's so much
Yeah.
recessive stuff there that you're like, you might get some good combos, but.
So these skunk chems are just...
Are you doing any? So I know that this time you're doing it like old school with letting everybody smoke the weed and stuff, but all this stuff's already gone to Phylos and it's all been checked.
The testing?
Yeah.
Well, Phylos is the genetic testing.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, as far as are you going to categorize all of them, whatever you do in the long run?
Several.
Yeah.
I'd say at this run, I think we're going to have 8 kits.
Uh-huh.
We have 14, I think, already in the system.
Nice.
Everything that's unique, anything that's special, or sometimes we'll get like an outlier, and just want to see, just to see. And you see genetically, it's still quite similar. It's just the expression's that much different. But with Phylos and all that stuff, it's just playing around, having fun with it, playing with the tools. But it is nice, especially when homogenizing and stabilizing strains, to see that you can watch that reducing amount of variance.
Variance, yeah, cool.
And by the way, my F2s and my F1s were the same amount of variance as my R1 and R2. I got lucky. My F2 was like super fucking stable. I was like, God damn it. I guess I had a Blackfire that like tested high, and then an F2, and it came back as low. And like I did my best, to make him stable.
Right.
But I was proving that there's no way it's going to be as stable as the females. But it actually did get stable. Anomaly.
Yeah. Well,
I'm still thinking, but the evidence currently is 50-50. They both came back way more stable. So.
Yeah, and that is literally the goal of cannabis. Breeding is some stability and homogenization and fucking the.
Not to take away anything from F2 because it was a bomb ass F2. So it's not like males suck. And, I said, that's like provocateur, kind of stuff. I want to get people thinking. I genuinely do though, and discussing.
We would expect nothing less, obviously. So that's at least you're consistent, right?
Here's the thing. I'm open to discussion always. Period, including anything that I've come up with. And I'm ready to pivot. If you show me something that's new, cool. I want to know it. I'm not set in my ways, but that's allowed me to kind of look outside the box. And after 25 years of using males, and a lot of mushrooms, mostly the mushrooms, I decided that no. I looked it up. I couldn't find anything that said the DNA was different.
Right.
And once I talked to a plant physiologist, a guy who published a PhD, he's like, yeah, there's no difference. I'm like, huh. I was like, is there anything to say that male-female breeding is better? He's like, no, why would there be? I'm like, I don't know. Right. I'm asking you. I dropped out.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, like a little bit like you were saying before, because the cannabis breeders are always like so stuck on the sort of the romantic side of it all.
I enjoy the art of finding a good dude.
Yeah. Yeah, or just I know that we all know this is all for the theme. Yeah, we're gonna.
But but like I really do. Here's the thing: I actually do enjoy the female part of breeding cannabis. I genuinely do. It's just laborsome. It takes a long time.
Oh, yeah, for the short.
And to actually homogenize or to stabilize a strain or variety, it takes a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you can't do it equally well or even potentially better. I'm saying I could do 10 in the time that I could also do 1 or maybe 2 at most and get equal results. So I'm not saying the male-female would be better or worse. I'm saying I could do way more female homogenized strains at a much higher level, at a much higher output. So my contention is not it's better for breeding, period. It's better for breeding homogenized commercial strains.
Which is your?
It's a specific.
Which is what you're doing, yeah.
Right? And that's a specific end game.
Yeah.
If you want to avoid bottlenecking, you should take all your males, like a room with 10, 12, 15 males, and a bunch of great females, and and cross them and to store some seeds and to avoid genetic drift and things like that. But those are different goals of breeding. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm not saying don't do that. I'm not saying don't cross a bunch of males with some females to put away seed stock to keep diversity. I'm just saying it's a different.
Well, it's like I had a friend of mine.
It's just a different end game.
A friend of mine called today. It's he had some really, he had some seeds that are about 25 years old. I think even more, 30 years old, and they were like, he knows exactly which weed it was, some Santa Marta Gold, that he knows exactly that it really was that. And he wanted to do something with it, and so his question to me was that what should he do? Should he F2 them, figure it out, inbreed them, to go, which is what I would suggest, just right out of the gate.
When in doubt, I just say F2 everything, everyone, and everyone.
Yeah.
And then start from there.
Yeah, well, especially on those things, because the minute you breed it with some cookie cross or something like that, you're fucked. I mean,
you work the F2, cross everything with everything, and put that away,
right.
And then work those a little bit, and then you start crossing with some stuff.
Yeah.
And once again, that's a different end game.
Yeah.
And I would do that too. But for what I'm trying to do, and then once again, that's part of my contention is I'm not saying it's just for all tools. It's for this particular end game for what I'm doing. And once again, I don't know if long term, if by the time I get to an R4, it's going to be as strong as an F4. It may lose vigor. It's possible. I don't know. I do know to the R2 process, it's way better than the F2 process.
Right.
That's as far as I know. So, that's where I am on that, and that's from my personal experience and from what I've seen. So, and also from other growers, obviously, that I give a lot of free seeds away to like growers that if you're a good grower and you know how to take pictures and you're a friend of mine, I'm giving you free seeds. I need input, clones back, whatever. So a lot of that is also, feedback that I get from growers that I respect. I also like different rooms, different styles.
Of course.
I get totally different feedback. I get totally different feedback sometimes.
Sure. And that's the nice part. I mean, and have you had like, because a lot of times, I think one of the big fears with feminized seeds over the years has always been like, the fact that everybody who's, getting seeds that are made from stress plants, et cetera, whatever. That there's
Stress is a real thing.
Yeah.
That is epigenetics. It is proven.
But have you had any kind of like just fucked up shit along the way where certain things have gone wrong, like that are out there that you need to nothing you need to address or anything?
We recalled a strain 3 months ago.
Oh yeah.
2 weeks after its release. I had only run 4 seeds of it, and they all came out great.
Yeah. Somebody else ran.
Beautiful.
A couple people.
And also, yes, and then they'd run it a little bit after me, and they all told me they at least got one intersex trait, and like 3 of them had multiple, like 3 out of 10 or 4 out of 10, like way too high.
Yeah.
Not like one.
Yeah.
Like that's a problem.
Yeah.
And like I know it's not their room. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, sure.
So I put a massive post up all over social media saying recalled, refund. And it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. And I had the most positive, probably social media response I ever had.
Yeah.
Because it was
because
like,
most
it was
people
just
don't-
such dread.
Yeah.
It was such dread because I hang my head on like, I got this.
Yeah, right.
And what happened was, and it's not like I actually no one knows, and I don't make I make excuses all the time. I didn't want to make an excuse, but it was kosher kush, but it wasn't my cut. And my friend didn't know enough that this is actually a slightly better cut. He thought he was doing me a favor, and he just forgot to tell me. And breeding, you know how once you pollinate something, when it doesn't finish, it finishes different.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell that it was a slightly different cut.
Yeah.
And then later he was like, "Yeah, no, it was this better cut." Oh, he was all excited about it. I'm like, oh shit, I don't know how it breeds. He's like, I was like, did I breed with that other one 10 times?
Right.
I know how that one breeds,
Sure.
And so we had to recall it. And so once again, the genetic, it's an unknown genetic. Using unknown genetics, untested genetics is the problem.
Yeah.
And I know that no matter how good my feminizing technique is, I'm not going to make a strain better. I can't feminize dog waltz and take that nanner situation out of it. You know what I mean? If I use something like a trade cam,
Well, it's like cherry pie or something like that. People are like,
exactly.
Why are you going to use it if you know it's going to
But
go
that's why I literally won't use it.
Yeah.
You see, stuff that already has tendencies
of course.
to have or prone to that, I won't use at all.
Yeah.
The only one is ChemD because it's worth it.
Right. It's not really like that.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's day 18. There's a couple little bulls, and like you said, that one freaking branch or that one plant, you're like, oh, dude, yeah, you're real bad. But mostly, it's like I'd say 75% of them are really good that come out of there, which I'm totally happy with when doing a chem hunt. But dude, we've had a lot of problems, and the number one thing is always untested stuff.
Yeah.
And just like anything else, whether it's male female breeding or female breeding, it doesn't matter. The
yeah.
female you're using, regardless of its intent, you should test.
Of course.
And for me,
hopefully that's usually
yeah.
that's the one that's most tested. Is the male that's a carrier that's
it's most run. Yeah,
like that's the hardest one to like pinpoint out of the gate
Right.
because you don't let them see it ever.
Yeah,
mature.
it takes a while, and then there's like plant counts and room, and all this other stuff, and like, so just variables. And like I said, it's about end game and tool for a job. But a lot of my customers do large crops, and they like to go from seed, and they like feminized seeds that they know are going to be same height or the same,
Sure.
So why can't I go to the F5 process except my way?
So so now that we're wrapping the show up right around now,
Wrap it up.
What's the best way to get in touch with Ethos besides Instagram?
Ethosgenetics.com.
Of course.
Ethos Genetics, pretty much anything. If you just Google it, it's our Instagram page has the most activity. Our Facebook page has more people, but I think they're all bots. No one really says anything anymore. Or Facebook just sucks now. But we have a lot of good Instagram feedback. I always welcome questions, especially tag me if you have something. So we're most active on Instagram, but you can find us through our website. Seedsherenow.com is our primary U.S. distributor. It always seems like we're out of stock. Just check back 2 days later. We're just lucky enough right now to be selling out every week. So they have the strains. Just check back in a couple days. But yeah,
cool.
I really appreciate the support our last few months. Like really, it's been humbling and it's been really, really, really nice.
Nice. So we're going to see you on the 14th, which is coming up in 2 weeks. And I guess we'll be going to Sacramento and
San Bernardino, Santa Rosa,
Yeah.
Michigan,
Yeah.
Palm
Everywhere
Springs.
Really?
There's the actual growers convention. We're going there and checking it out because why not?
Sure.
Emerald Cup, of course, will
Yep.
be in December. Oh, San Diego in November.
What's going on there?
Cup, high times.
Oh, San Diego.
Yeah. Jamaica, we're going to shoot for Jamaica, and then we're trying to do South America as well.
Nice.
Bolivia.
That's
Dude,
the first one
it's
there.
blowing up. Dude, I get messages from Bolivia all the time. It's
Really?
crazy. I thought it was like a joke at first. I was getting spammed or someone was fucking with me. And I looked at I was like, I have 1,000 followers from Bolivia.
Right.
And weed's just legal there. It's just legal. Like not even Colorado, like legal. I'm like, oh shit. I was like, Bolivia, what's up?
And it has been for a while, or it's just...
2 years, not even.
Yeah. Yep, that's
and then
pretty cool.
Colombia has all their medical stuff going.
Yep, things are starting to roll there too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Really cool.
It is
Very exciting.
It is because it's like everybody's in their little bubbles and they know what's going on in their bubble, and we kind of know what's going on in most of the bubbles. But then there's places like that are going off that you're like,
oh, dude, if it wasn't for my Instagram, I would not know of these bubbles. But it's fascinating and it's really cool. Like, because we know a visual I have now of our map is like you see the states that are legal, that are medical, and the ones that aren't quite yet. But like if you look at the world map, it's kind of the same. Like it's blotchy as shit in a good way.
It's good, looking good.
A lot of medical.
Ooh, blotchy in a good way.
Blotchy.
That's where we're gonna end the show.
I've never said those words in that order.
Yeah, blotchy in a good way. The name of the show is
Don't quote me on that.
That's the name of the show, dude. Blotchy in a good way. The Blotchy in a good way episode.
Dude, there's no blotchy in a good way. Damn it.
Little variegation there. So, all right. Well, thanks for listening to the show. I want to big shout out to Dr. Willard, Dr. John Willard III. No, he's not a doctor though, right? He's just John Willard.
I wouldn't say he's a doctor, but
Dad.
He was down in the school down in Goldman for a while in the school mines.
Oh yeah, doctor school of the mines.
So I mean, those
things
sense.
don't usually make sense.
He answered questions in a way that someone who's learned. Like he didn't answer anything outside the parameters of what he knew for a fact, which tells me someone who has been through some good amount of schooling.
Yeah, no,
like all my shit's just like half guessing. You're like,
throwing.
What'd you go 5 years and not get a degree? I'm like, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
4 majors, baby.
They would have.
Yeah, they made me stop going.
Yeah, they're like
what? They're like, pick a major. I'm like,
Yeah, don't keep coming back and.
I want more electives. It took every elective they had.
So, thank you for calling in, and if you guys are more interested in any of those things, just give us a heads up, and we'll pass messages over to those guys. And shout out to my beautiful wife Cece and little Nick, and who's down at Grandma's for Easter. So,
got an egg hunt going on.
Oh, we're going to go on Sunday, pick him up.
I can't believe I kind of forgot about this.
What's that?
We have an OPC now running in Denver called Clone with a K. We're just exclusively genetics in an R&D facility. And we'll be online here. Like, we're already online, but like our actual clones will be available to other OPCs in quantities in seed and clone form in like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, nice. Awesome. Perfect.
Email me at colin@ethosgenetics.com. There's a bit of a waiting list, but we do have already over 50 proven genetics of ours, and we have some massive pheno hunt rooms going right now. We're flipping, so we'll have upwards of 200 genetics, and we'll be making seeds and constantly. And you can get genetics and tissue culture as well, so they're pathogen free. So.
Pathogen free. Who else? Big shout out to my mom Ace down at the farm.
Jagang, Spring Hill.
Yeah.
Stoney, MH.
Yeah.
Rod.
For sure.
Zen Man.
MTI for fucking making it happen.
I don't know who any. Oh, that
Right
one
there.
I know.
You know him.
The guy who's
Yeah.
not coming to the party. You
Yeah.
got to stand outside and watch, though, right? Cool. Just throw rocks at the building.
Resinopoulos.
Yeah, just, is it great? Is it great, guys? Don't tell him. Don't even tell him.
We'll see you guys next week. And we got anybody lined up or?
It's a surprise guest.
Oh no! Oh, and
Does that
also,
mean, yeah, you don't know who it is
oh,
yet?
also we're gonna have a second
yeah,
chapter.
You know, it's like the
Second-
surprise drop, you know.
Second chapter to the Skittle story. Gonna have Fields on the show soon with his crew, so it's gonna be a little bit of a. Now let's hear the real story. So
Is that a real story?
this is a real
I'm
story.
excited
I
to
know.
hear this. Oh, exciting.
Yes. You know how the real stories come down. The Z's, especially with the Z's involved. So see you guys next week, and yeah, see you then. Keep it real. Peace.
Right.
Practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own hidden
This is a special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb. Some call it marijuana, some call it sensimedia, some call it lamb's bread, and some people call it ganja.